That's what we're doing. Oh, this guy has a car trying to come.
Exactly. Thomas? Bro, he was always late. Oh, he's parking. He said.
Oh, he's parking.
Yeah. Crazy.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning.
All right, so we're going to get started. We're having a little bit of IT issues. So the video is going to play. It had like amazing music, but I might just have to sing it to you, or the microphone's working. I'll just hum the melody. It might be more impactful that way. But welcome. If you are not in the paramedic program, you can still stay here and have an amazing lecture for the next 3 hours. If you are in the paramedic program, then you're in the right spot. You guys all had Amy yesterday and Dave. Sorry. Okay. Dave can be a lot. But you only get him like once a week, so that's fine. Everyone's going to tell you that their class is the most important, and they're right. All of their classes are important. All of our classes are important. This afternoon, you guys will be with Professor Alex, and he's going to be doing your anatomy. All of our classes intertwine, and they all come to fruition in our class. So what you learn in Amy's class, what you learn in anatomy with Alex, and whatever Dave might get into your heads in med legal will fall in here, and all of their stuff is testable in here. We're going to be doing the job. This is how do we put all these pieces together and actually take care of somebody, taking into consideration anatomy, therapy communication, legal ramifications. Putting it all together happens here. Plus, we have some other skills that we're going to learn in our class. So the difference between the paramedic program and a lot of other programs is it continues to build, and you have to rely on the stuff that you learn. So the things that I do on my job on the ambulance still relates back to this class, this first class, Amy's first class, Dave's first class. It all boils back down, and you have to remember that stuff. So if you're studying to memorize for a test next week, you're screwed. You have to actually study to learn and understand, and then how to apply it. The same idea of like playing sports. So understanding the rules, so then you can play that sport. Understanding what's out of bounds, what counts as a 3-point shot, what the judges are looking for, what's a foul, whatever sport you're thinking of. But when you go and play a team, you know the rules, and you have to adjust to how that team plays. Another team, they might be a little bit more aggressive, and you need to change how you play, but the rules are the same. Another team, they might be much more defensive. And again, you change how you play, but the rules are the same. So we're going to teach you the rules. You have to understand the anatomy, the path of the physiology, this stuff, so then you can actually adjust to when patients present differently. Awake, not awake. Outside, inside. On a flight of stairs, on the floor, on a bed, in a chair. So there's something that you're going to hear a lot of while you're in the program. It's embrace the gray. There's black, there's white, and we live in the middle. You know the rules, you know what you need to do. Now you got to figure out how to apply those as best as possible in the middle. And I'm going to try to work with you guys on that. The first 2 weeks are pretty easy. And then it changes. And that goes for all our classes. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm trying to show you guys the realities, and I don't want you guys being like, oh, first test in anatomy, not bad. First test in med legal, not bad. First test in Modesto, not bad. The first 2 weeks are easy. But then it gets harder, and it gets a little bit more challenging. I would encourage you to talk to the second years and get a little bit of reality. What was semester 1 like? What were the challenges? What were your hurdles? How did you overcome them? So please, for help from second years, ask for help with each other, and most importantly, come to us. I told you I'm still working. I'm a paramedic with Field Regional Paramedic Services. I went to this school. I sat way up in the corner over there. And then I quickly realized I need to get closer. Because shit was getting real. The school looked the same. Like it still had these same, literally, these same desks, the same walls, like everything. They haven't even been painted. And it was a long time ago that I went to this school. I know the challenges and the struggles to be here. I know what it's like to be on the road. And I'm here to support you guys to get there. I want to help you. If you come to me at the end of the semester, can't. There's not enough time. You guys are not a number to me. I'm not going to be professor. I'm not going to be Mr. De Silva. I'm going to be Augusto, because one day my goal is to work with you guys on the ambulance. And I don't need you calling me professor when we're taking care of someone, right? Or Mr. De Silva when you're about to catch a baby. It needs to be Augusto. So my goal is to set you guys up for success so that you can work beside me. I can only do that if you come and talk to me and ask for help and let me know where you're struggling. We're going to share some stories. I want people to be comfortable in this space, so I'm going to ask that we don't do any recordings. There's also no need to take pictures in this course. I will be posting videos, images, and some of the things that you're going to see, they're not for like shock, like, oh, but it's actually started making you think, how would I take care of that? What would I do? What am I seeing? How do I apply it to things that I've learned? So there's no need to take pictures to show people. You want to see those things? Just Google them. Most of my images come from that, or from calls that I was on. You guys will learn about PHCA, so the Privacy Act. Some of the stories that I'm going to share with you guys, it's technically a breach of PHCA if I'm not careful in what I say and how I say it. Some of the images, same thing. So the last thing I need is to lose my job, because if I lose my job, I'm going to move in with you guys and I eat a lot. And I won't have a job, so I can't pay the rent. So, I want you guys participating. This is going to be interactive. You cannot come here and just listen to me talk and not do any of the work, not do any of the readings, not do any of your own extra work. When we come here, I'm based my lectures off of you've done the readings. You've done the readings, you might have some questions, you figured some things out, and I'm giving you essentially the closed notes. I'm showing you how to piece things together, I'm going over things that might be a little bit confusing. So if all you do is come here and listen to the lecture, and that's it, no buenos. So we need to think about doing the work beforehand. It's a lot. I know it's a lot. But if you come prepared to all your classes, you're going to be successful. It does get busy really quickly. All right, so a couple things that we need to cover is thinking about those pictures, those videos, and audio recordings. If you need to have a discussion more with me, please do so privately. But essentially, everything that we're doing here is private. I will be, as I said before, sharing stuff, so I don't need to record it. I will also be dropping some F-bombs and swearing. I don't need that to get out into social media and the world. I want to treat you guys like my coworkers, like my partners on the ambulance, with the same expectations. So I trust my partner on the road. I need to trust you. You need to trust me. Morning. We're going to talk a little bit about our course format and the schedule. There's always some questions surrounding that. We are going to look at Ecentennial. I don't know if Amy or Dave have gone through that yet with you guys, but there's a few things I want to highlight. We're going to talk about our textbooks that we need to have, along with our evaluation process, because every year people are like, yo, how do I get tested? I heard this, I heard that. I'm going to talk about it, and as we progress in the semester, when we get closer to some of those evaluations, I'll spend time explaining more about it, along with kind of my expectations of the classroom and also college policies. So at this point, I hope you guys have all jumped onto Ecentennial. This is our course shell. So you should be able to see something that looks something like this. Up on the top right-hand corner, it should have your name and a blank screen. I want you guys to post me a little picture there. To do that, you're going to go into your settings there. And then you're going to click profile, and from there you'll be able to post a picture. I'll show you a couple things live. So here's our screen. We'll be doing news announcements, things that are important. On the side here is our content. So you'll have table of contents, and every week I'll open up a new folder. This is where you'll find stuff pertaining to that week. So this is where it'll be your modified PowerPoints. You're not going to get all my notes. You're not going to get my PowerPoint verbatim. You'll get modified versions of them. And if any of you have already looked at the PowerPoints that I've made available for you, you'll see like blank spots. What I would love for you guys to do is don't even worry about the PowerPoint, but the week after, when you're studying, open it up and see if you can fill that stuff out. The blank spaces, if it talks about, I think we're doing communicable diseases. If it talks about like what are diseases that are aerosolized, and there's like 6 dots, can you recall those 6 dots? So use my PowerPoints with the blanks as a study tool. If you're filling them out now, here, today, cool. But as we approach different tests, go back to the blank one and see if you can fill it out. Compare and contrast. Use them as a study tool. I'm a bad student, so whenever I get the instructor's PowerPoints, I look at them, I might make some notes, but I never really study from them because I'm like, they're all there. This strategy, when someone did that to me, it forced me to go back and study, go back and revisit, and fill it out, and that's where I found my errors, that's where I found what I was missing and I didn't know. So that's why I'm using that. So before you guys are like, your PowerPoints are kind of empty. Yeah. They're there for a reason. Table of contents, course outline. This is your course outline, and it breaks down week by week what we're covering. It also talks about like what the tests are, policies, procedures, all kinds of stuff. But way down at the bottom, and you'll have this for all your courses. Yes?
What are those numbers on the top there, like that little table? What's that mean?
This?
Yeah.
This is your term tests. These are different things from the school's perspective about learning outcomes. And I can't remember what the EES stuff lies, but this is part of our requirements for the college as to like what are our learning objectives, how do we tie them back, all this stuff. So you don't have to worry about that. But I'm going to show you more about like what your term tests are. So this stuff, don't worry about it. What I think is important, like peruse through this. Like as long as you look through one of these to look at like what are your course outcomes, what's the rules, the evaluation scheme, what is student policies. Like once you look through one, it's all pretty much the same. Where it differs is your actual week by week. So this is where you're going to know what readings to do. So week 1, our topic is going to be Nancy Caroline is one of our textbooks. It's going to tell you 8th edition, chapter 2, pages 19 to 23. Look at what I wrote. Stop after periodic health risk assessment. So don't read the whole chapter. So I'm going to tell you where to start, where to stop. I hate when professors are like, read chapter 7. And you're like, all of this? And some of it doesn't pertain. If I ask you to read only pages 19 to 23, stop at page 23 wherever I told you. And try to mitigate how much you have to read. And narrow down and focus. So this will tell you everything. ITLS, that's going to be another one of our things. Here it says that Appendix A, Appendix A2, available in week 1 course folder. So I posted it up for you guys. Basic life support, BLS, 3.4, section 1, pages 7 and 8. So I'm telling you guys everything you need to read. There is a little bit of a slide bar here that you can push across and you can look at other stuff. So weekly learning outcomes are there. Some people and some strategists will say look at those outcomes, and that's a good way to study. I don't put all of them out there because there's so many in some cases. But I give you a little bit of a hint. And then if there is any evaluations and dates, they'll be listed here. So as we scroll down this far side, oh look, there's something filled out here. We have a lift evaluation, and we probably have a test on that same day. Term test 1. So please, go and look at your table of contents. For us, general course, and then you have your timetable. Along with that, I put down like our student handbook. There's the appendix that I was telling you about for ITLS. Your BLS is on here. So student code of conduct, all that stuff. The other thing that I want to bring to your attention is in here, where you're going to do your profile and add a picture, you don't have to put your address. Put your name. You can choose any pronouns that you want. You can choose like a nickname, those kind of things. And please add a picture so we can see your beautiful faces. That way we can start learning who you guys are. You're a lot. The other one is notifications. So notifications, you can actually get stuff sent through an app onto your phone if you want. Down here, summary of activity. So the school will send you an email. You can choose how often you want that done and what time. So if it's daily, weekly, wherever you want. Where I think it's really important is this one. You want instant notifications. So where I would highlight is content. So any kind of content that's created or updated. You want to get notified by that. So if I do anything, post anything, that pops up. Another one will be discussions. So we're going to be setting up a discussion group. So it's fantastic that you guys are going to have a class WhatsApp. Wicked. That's where you can talk shit about all the profs in school, right? And these books cost way too much money. I don't want that on our discussion board. What I want on our discussion board is I have a question. Like, who does a business card? And then you guys can do it from back, right? So you guys will put in the discussion board questions. I didn't understand this. I'm having a hard time with this piece. And then it's not social media, so you guys are not like, oh, that link, right? Following, but I want you guys helping one another. Every year, students will come and ask me a question. And there'll be a lineup here as I'm trying to clean up, and then we eventually go outside and there's a lineup. And someone will ask me a question, and then someone will ask me a different question. The third person asks the same question as the first one. And then the fourth person asks me the same question. And so I'm giving an answer, but there's a bunch of people that are missing because they're like, Augusto's too busy. I don't want to bug him. I really got to go pee. I don't have time to stand in line. But you have the same question. So what I want is us to work with each other to figure out those questions. Post a question on the session board, help each other out. If you think you know the answer, I think it's this answer, because in Miss Caroline it said this. Well, I remember in this lecture he made a comment about blah, blah, blah. And then other people can support it. I'm going to watch and read it. After there's some dialogue, I'll type in. I'll be like, yep, you guys are on the right track. Nope, you guys totally fucked that up. Right? But I'll type in after you guys are helping each other out. One of the reasons I want to do this is because I want everyone hearing the same message. It is not fair if I give information to one person to a question that you guys have or didn't even think of. I want all of you guys to succeed, so I want you guys all having the same message. 2, when we get on the road, we ask each other for help. So you better start doing that. And then when we do give advice, it's usually backed up by something. And you don't have to go into like proper notation and quotation and citation. I don't get comfortable with that. But you should be able to say, I believe it's blah, 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 because in here, I found this stuff. And I think it applies to this. All right, so back up your stuff instead of like, just the way I feel. Sound good? So discussion board is something that I would encourage you guys to use. Everyone's going to be shy about it, but you can put notifications. I will sometimes post questions there. So for discussions, if you want to notify there. And then this is the one that everyone does. You want to know when there's grades. So your grades will be populated on here. You get a notification. You'll open it and then look at it. Right? You'll look at your grades and move on. And then the other one I would ask is your news items. So if you're going to do anything, news, grades, discussion, and then any kind of new content. That will keep you aware of what's happening. So if there's an issue where we can't come to class, or there's something that happens, and I write something there, you guys will get notified immediately. You can also choose where that notification goes. So right up here, contact method, you can decide where you want that information to go. It's very handy, please don't do that with all your courses. Questions about that? Awesome. If you're having issues that you're not sure, let me know and I can help you with it. These are our textbooks. Everyone should have had a list of textbooks you need. The first two, Nancy Caroline, Emergency Care in the Streets, and then International Trauma Life Support for ITLS. Those two are the books you need. Nancy Caroline, it should be the 8th edition and Canadian. If you have a different version, if you don't have the Canadian one, do I care? Yes, but not really. If you have a different version, and you ask me what pages, I'll be like, I don't know. I went through this book. I read this book. And I was like, they don't need to know that. They don't need that. And highlighted it and identified it for you. So if you got a different book, I'm not doing that. That's way too much. And I don't have any ETAs, so they're not different. I don't care if you have a solid book, if you have a digital copy, if you steal it from someone else, if you photocopy it, I don't care. But you do need this book. This book you can use all 4 semesters.
Do the page numbers work for online?
And the page numbers should work for the online as per the publisher. ITLS, that's another one that you'll need. And again, that's another book that you'll use all year round, or for the whole year, or the whole program. And then this one here is basic life support. So there's the BLS, basic life support, and the ALS, advanced life support. Those 2 books are live documents. What that means is they change. That's our Bible, that's how we work. That tells us what to do, when to do it, how to do it. So that's what we use in Ontario, paramedics use in Ontario, to actually do our job. That is a live document. I've made it available for you. If it changes, I'll update it and I'll let you guys know, and I'll tell you what the changes are. This will change while you're here in this program. So as things change, we'll modify, we'll let you know, and we'll update it. So I made that electronically available to you. Print it if you want. Some people will get it, bind it, and print it. I don't care what you do with it, but that's available for you. So nothing to question.
Sounds kind of silly, but some of the other professors have the modern version 3.4. So should we always be looking at the most current version?
It's going to be the most current version. They may not have updated it. The course that we're doing is what you do on the road as of today. So it should be 3.4. And if they're not doing that, let me know and I'll tell them to update it. It's probably dated.
Yeah.
He's old. He smells old. He's got old things. So yeah, it's 3.4. Okay, this is what you guys are all excited about. This is our evaluation. You don't need to write the stuff down because it's in our course outline. Take a deep breath. It's okay. All right, gonna be all right. My personal opinion, this is one of the reasons why I asked you not to record. I think this school is full of shit. One of their policies that all the professors hate is that we cannot give you more than 2 tests in the same week. And we're like, okay, and then like, oh, and the test can't be worth more than 25%. If it is, you need to have special accountability or thing. We're like, okay. So that means that for 100% of the marks, I have to give you 4 tests. Amy has to give you 4 tests. Dave has to give you 4 tests. Alex has to give you 4 tests. And the program's 14 weeks. Qu'est-ce que c'est le fuck? You guys are running tests back to back to back to back to back to back to back, which sucks. And we feel you. We feel you. On one hand, I'm like, cool, because it all intertwines. You guys should be staying on top of stuff, but it sucks. Again, no recordings, because I lose my job. So, first test is going to be in week 5. That's going to be the content that we covered today and leading up. It's going to be all the stuff from any of the other classes and our classes. And that's going to be worth 25% of your mark. Historically, everyone does really well on this first test, and they're like, Augusta lied. All these students in second year lied. Everyone's lied. This program's not hard. Cool. The other evaluation you can do in week 5 is an actual lift test, and we're gonna talk more about it next week. But there's gonna be a lift evaluation. It's a pass-fail, so either you passed it or you failed it. It's 4 components that you're gonna be doing 4 different types of lifts. You're gonna be lifting with somebody else. We're gonna teach you how to lift. We're gonna show you the equipment next week. You will start doing it and practicing and training to get there. If you fail 1 or more of those lifts, then you will have an opportunity to remediate, do that lift again. And that's gonna happen in week 11, November 20th, you will remediate. So our first term test is gonna be week 5. You guys are gonna have a break, or engagement week, or a lunch break. It's gonna be October 21st to 25th. When you guys come back, we're gonna have term test 2. And then we're gonna have term test 3 on November 20th, which is week 11. And then the last week of school, December 11th, is gonna be week 14. That's when your final term test is. All of our tests are cumulative. So the last test we write will have content from week 1, from today. Okay? We have also that remedial practical evaluation, or in the final practical evaluation, the OSCE. So the OSCE is the evaluation process that we do. It's a scenario. We will do the practical portion of this program. So we talk about how to stop bleeding, how to breathe for someone, how to fix someone's bone. Cool, you wrote a test about it. Now you have to actually show me how to do it. So the program will challenge you in a number of ways. One of the ways that it's going to challenge you is either you're really academic, you love studying, you like writing tests, or maybe you don't like it, but you're really good at that part. Or you like the hands-on. I want to touch, feel, do, fix. But very rarely are people both. People are one or the other. Here, you have to be both. And this is where it's going to be, again, important that you guys start connecting with each other so you can help each other. So practice with each other. So if someone's really good at a skill, practice with them, learn that skill, work with them, and then you may be able to help them in the academic world, and vice versa. But that's where the challenge lies. Lifting, we kind of talked about it, but I want you to know right now that we're going to be lifting this semester as part of your lift requirements 170 pounds. So 170 pounds, there's 4 different lifts. That does not include the equipment. So 170, putting it on the table, and you're lifting the knee and the table. If this table weighs 10 pounds, then you're lifting 170 plus 10, 180. So next week we will cover all of these pieces, and I'll show you how to do all these things. It's important that you come to our lectures. It's important that you come to your labs. Semester 2, you're going to bump up to 190. Semester 3, you're going to be doing 210 pounds. And to get a job, you will have to do the industry current testing, which is a timed test that involves lifting weights that are heavier than this, carrying them, doing CPR, loading, unloading, a lot of different factors. So every year we have people that struggle with our lift test. You can start exercising, you can start working out. And the weights that we do don't come near what you have to do to qualify to get a job. Okay? I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm trying to set you guys up for what's to come. So right now, 170 pounds, that's what we're working on. All right, the final practical evaluation. This is the scenarios I was talking about, or what we call them as OSCEs. There are 5 different scenarios or skill stations that you will have to go through. We're going to be using something called the global rating scale. I will give you the global rating scale. I will hand it to you before we get to that testing, so you have an idea of what it is. I will make it available for you on our course shell. I will talk about it as we get closer to it. I will answer questions that you have about it. But the global rating scale is what's used. It's industry-wide. It's around the world to evaluate skills and judgment in a practical kind of setting. So we're going to be using that. The global rating scale uses several different dimensions, 7 of them, and we look at situational awareness. Are you aware of what's happening, what's going on? Did the patient change? Did they not? History gathering. Did you ask questions, find out what happened? Going through patient assessment, decision making, using your resources that you have available, your partner, police, fire, bystanders, whoever it might be. How do you communicate? So this is your therapeutic. So if you're like, shit, fuck, shit, fuck, shit, fuck, you probably won't score very well, right? You're not using therapeutic communication. And then procedural skills, like, can you actually do the skill, right? So if you're doing CPR, are you like, we're like, that skill's not so good. Like, you look good doing it, but not so good. So we're gonna evaluate you on that. And that's gonna happen in your first scenario or skill station. It's about 15 to 20 minutes. When you're done, you're gonna exit the room, and then you're gonna slide over to the next one. We're gonna tell you this is the kind of situation you're going into, and then you go in, you do your stuff, come out, and now you go to your third one. You walk in, you're like, shit, and then you walk out. And you do that 5 times. There are different situations, different skill stations, different scenarios, and then we evaluate you across all of them. And we give you a score across all of them. I told you already attendance is really important, so lab is 100%. That is where you will get the time to learn the skills, do the skills, get coaching from our instructors, practice, get feedback in anticipation of that OSCE. So if you think about this as sports, this is your practice, this is your training days. Week 14 is when we have our final game, our championship. So we're gonna train for 14 weeks. You're gonna have a coach every week in the lab, helping you with skills, drills, giving you feedback. So if you don't show up, you didn't learn. You didn't get feedback, you didn't get an opportunity. How well are you performing? So attendance is mandatory. You can't be late for labs. It's gonna throw off everything. We expect you guys to come in full uniform, which I'm gonna talk about in a moment, for labs, and on time. So you're gonna treat lab like it's your job. Show up on time, show up ready to work, show up in uniform. If you're late for work or you don't bring your uniform, is the boss okay with it? If they are, let me know, because I wanna work there. Mine's not. If you're showing up late, try to get in quietly and slide into a spot, especially if you're here. There are entrances from the 3rd floor. You can sneak in through the back, where there might be less noise, or at least not as awkward when you're walking in. But so you can sneak up through the back. With regards to respect in the class, I want us to enjoy ourselves. I want us to have fun. I want us to have frank conversations. And my class really sucks unless you participate. And I want feedback, and I want to see where you guys are at. So I want you guys participating. So being on social media, jumping and watching videos, texting and that stuff, just don't do it. And every lab, students are on their phones. They're like, oh, I'm just taking notes. And I'm like, bullshit. Because I've been standing behind you for the last 6 minutes, and I can see you're on Etsy. Right? I'm like, ooh, that's nice. So if you're gonna watch videos, if you're gonna be on Netflix, do me the favor, just leave. Because when you're watching a video here, people behind you can see it, and now you're distracting them. So if I'm boring, you're not enjoying it, you're tired, you want to catch what's going on in some show that just got released, then just leave. It's okay. What's not okay is doing that here and distracting other people, or distracting them. So help me out. And we talked about the recording. As I said before, I'm going to be sharing stuff with you guys that are personal and private, and I don't need that being posted all over the world. But I also want you guys to be comfortable and know that this is a safe space to say what you want to say. And it could be like, this fucking program sucks, or I'm really angry about it. And I'm like, yeah, all right, let's talk about it. Because one day, you guys will be my partners, and we need to be able to have these conversations. I'll call you out, you guys can call me out. Is that fair? Very different than UTSC, right? How many people here are from UTSC, from the University of Toronto? All right. How many people have gone to other schools? All right. Well, this is going to be very different than a lot of those other programs. Our uniform, so we don't have to wear uniforms to our lectures, only our labs. The uniform, I ideally would recommend that you guys wear a t-shirt underneath. So we have the program t-shirts, which are light navy blue, dark blue. If you are going to wear another shirt underneath, make sure that it's nothing that's offensive, that if you do take your uniform shirt off, that it's not offensive. Pants, if you're going to get pants, well, not get, when you get pants, put them on and squat. Because every year, we find out if people are wearing underwear. Because people will bend down and they will rip. Your pants have to be a little bit baggy. So this is not skinny jeans, these are not low ride. They have to be like work pants. So they'll be a little bit on the looser side. So then when you do have to bend down, you can, and you don't have to worry about it ripping. It may not be looking so nice, but your fit is not a big deal here. How you don't rip your pants is a bigger deal. So I want you guys making sure that the pants, when you try them on, good look. So the question is, do we have to buy the uniform pants here, or can we get other ones? The answer is yes, no. So the dilemma is that there are safety features that have to be present on the uniform pants. There has to be 3 and reflective striping all the way around both legs, minimum. They have to be a dark blue pair of pants. So those are really the 2 criteria. They don't have women's pants here. You're sorry? So I've had women where they're like, the men's pants fit a little better, and I've had women that are like, no, the women's pants fit better. Try them out, see if it doesn't work. Yeah, you can get them somewhere else, but make sure 3M all the way around both legs, and you have to be a dark blue. That's what I say yes. Okay? And that's not our decision. That is actually set up by Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Labor, and Services. We have to abide by those things. Okay? Uniform shirts, so you're going to be in full uniform when you come to lab. So that's the uniform top that's buttoned up. You're going to button it up. So nothing like showing off all your jewelry and chest hair. Right? You're not going to bar. You want to do this? No problem. But not in lab, not when you're in your uniform. So when you're in uniform, you're going to be wearing it properly tucked in, professional. So we're going to wear it properly. And then when you are wearing your uniform, to, from, anywhere, wear it properly. So if you're going to untuck it, take it off. Take off the shirt, carry it. Because untucked, opened up, walking like around, it doesn't look good. The one thing that we always hear about our students is that we look professional, it's professional. So you guys need to toe that line. Okay, so wear our uniforms properly. Steel toe boots. So you need steel toe boots. I would recommend getting something that is not low cut, but at least the ankle. You don't have to go like all the way through. That's like a Saturday night kind of look when you go to clubs. But you do need steel toe boots. The reason you want something above the ankle is ankle support. So when you are lifting up and down flights of stairs, you have a little bit more support in your ankle. More importantly, when you're working and you step in mud, snow, puddles, it doesn't just, that's the sound it makes, into your shoes. So you want a little bit of extra protection. You don't have to go super high, but definitely something that's going to go around your ankle. There's a little green triangle that you have to make sure is there. Anywhere you go to buy them, just say that it's for paramedics. It would be steel toe. They'll know what to do. Mr. Safety Shoe, there's a bunch of different places. They got a huge selection, both men and women's sizes. Go for it. They do have to be black, minimal color as much as possible. So if you see when you're like, oh, that's pink, it's really nice, steer with black. Okay. Couple questions?
Do they need to be CSA approved?
Pardon me?
They have to be CSA approved.
They have to be CSA approved. And the reason why is because you guys are going to be using these boots when you start So we'll go to construction sites, we'll go into slippery situations, we'll go into every environment. So we have to have reflective gear, we have to have safety footwear that meets the highest level required, we have to have helmets, we have to have all those things. So that's why you guys need to have them. The other option is don't get the CSA and then you have to buy another pair of boots when you start placement. And then you're like, why did I spend so much money? 2 sets of boots. So buy it now, they're gonna be a little bit rough, they're gonna be tight. But by the time you get to placement, they'll be nice and loose and you'll be comfortable with them.
We don't need to wear the uniform for tomorrow's lab, right? Like, still need to, when I bought the pants, I'm just a little bit too long, so I do need to get them tailored.
What's wrong with long pants? No, we don't need to wear the uniform tomorrow. If you have it, feel free to wear it. Lab this week, you don't need to wear it. After this week, we have to get on it. At the very least, you need to have safety boots for week 2, minimum. If you don't have safety boots, you can't practice the lifts. You can't be in the lab, and the coaches can't help you. So next week, you have to have boots. If you have boots and you're not sure if they're good or not, show me tomorrow, show me Friday, show me next Wednesday. Or take a picture and send it to me in an email. And I'll be like, yeah, or okay.
Is there a brand?
Sorry?
Sorry. Is there a brand you recommend?
No, it's where it fits your feet. There's all kinds of different stuff out there, whatever you like. Belts. And see. Yep. There's 2 types of belts that you can get. One, let me see your belt. One is just a normal belt that has like a leather piece that goes over the buckle. So it's literally like a normal belt. And it has a piece that goes over. Or you can get something that looks like this, which is 2 pieces. So you wear one on your belt, and then it has Velcro. And then when you put this one on, when you put this one on, it Velcros to the other one, and it buckles. So people will do this and have gear on it, so scissors, flashlight. On the road we wear radios. So when I have my belt, when I have my belt, I have my radio here, and when I am ready to take it off, usually going to a station, I'll take this off, and it sits on the seat of the ambulance with everything I need, and then I just have my inner belt on. So you can buy a 2-piece system, or you can buy one. Though, if you have one, then you have to loop these things in and they kind of stay in your belt. It's a little bit more work, it's not a big deal. Look at belts on Amazon, and you can figure out what your waist size is. These also are adjustable, so you can actually adjust. So as you bulk up in this program, you can get huge, you can adjust these, okay? And these will last forever. The one I wear at work, I had as a student. Why'd you say wow? Wasn't that long ago? What's your name? I'm gonna make a special note. So they will last a long, long time. The boots you should be able to get at least the next 2 years out of it as well. College policies, make sure you're familiar, or at some point if you need to look these up, they're available online. We can make them available to you. I have them on our course shell. I don't know if the others did or not, but I have links to all these things in documents. But be aware that you guys have rights and resources at the school that you're paying for. And if you're not sure, come talk to me, and I'll tell you. Even if it's like, I want to complain about you, and I'll be like, oh, this is who you go to. All right? I'm going to talk about that. Yeah. So office hours. I have office hours, but they're by appointment. So if you want to meet with me, send me an email. We'll coordinate. We'll figure out what's going to be best for you and me. I will also do office hours virtually if you want. So we can always do that if we need to do it that route as well. I prefer in person, but if it is urgent and we can't align, we can do it virtually. My email is all over the place. On our course shell, if you go to, I think, communication, there's like a class list. You can email everybody or just me. This week in lab, we're going to teach you, or not teach you, we're going to introduce you to the facility, kind of the expectations. We're not going to be here the whole time, but we are going to be here for a couple hours. It's almost a full day. We got some activities to do and things that we're going to cover. So you will need to get safety boots at some point. You need to get safety boots by next week. You need to get a uniform as soon as possible. You do not need to wear a uniform tomorrow, but you can. And when I say tomorrow, I mean like Thursday, Friday, whichever day it is. You will need to get stethoscope, pen light, a couple other things. And if you don't have your first aid and healthcare provider CPR, HCP, this covers infant, child, adult, and AD, and BVM. If you don't have that certification, both those certifications, get on it. Get on it. You need to have those certifications. You need those for your placements. You will be submitting placements, documentation, I want to say October. You need to get it.
I was gonna say, is there like a specific washing you get, or is it just like whatever works?
I'm going to talk about it.
I think it was November.
Sorry?
November.
November? Yeah. So you'll need to get your Stanford State CPR. All right, so stethoscopies. Downstairs, you can get stethoscopes downstairs. There's a bunch of places out in the community that you can get stethoscopes. You can also get them through Amazon. There's a couple different brands out there. Littman, which I have pictures here, they are kind of tried, tested, and true, and there's a bunch of styles that you can get and price points. They get very expensive. You want to be bougie? Do that. You want to pass first? Get me a nice one. So stuff like Littman Lightweight number 2, it has the top one, the black one. It has a plastic piece. So the end that you actually put on the person is plastic, but it's pretty rigid, it's pretty hard. That one also you can turn, that piece that you stick on the patient, to listen to different sounds and tones, and also different adult versus pediatric. So it's something to consider. The one below that, the classic 3, more expensive. The piece that you're going to put on the chest is made out of metal. It too will rotate and turn so you can listen to different tones and different sounds. And they come in a bunch of different colors, so feel free to pick a color that you like. If you order from Littman, it gives you options like engrave and do all kinds of stuff. So that's an option. Go to Littman, stethoscopes.something, and you'll find it.
We need this by next week, or?
You'll need it in, I think, week 3, maybe 4. But I would say sooner the better. Blood pressure cuffs. You just need a basic blood pressure cuff, and it can't be anything that uses batteries or plugs into a wall. So it has to have a piece that you pump up, and this manometer, and all you need is one, and it should be for an adult. So they'll sell pediatric, they'll sell child, they'll sell like extra large. Just a normal adult one. They do sell them downstairs. You also can get this on Amazon and a bunch of other places. From there, pen lights. So people will carry like a flashlight. You're not using a flashlight in someone's eyeballs. You want to use pen lights. Some of these come in packs of like 5, 6, 7 through Amazon. So you can get these and like sell them off. Hey, I'm buying 5. One. All right, you owe me $3, right? So you can split the cost, or buy 5 and be like, I have a pen in every bar. The light that comes out of these are pretty small, and you don't need nothing bright because this is going in someone's eyes. So if you have those big honking police flashlights, you're gonna like fry their eyeballs. Right? You can get some that are a little bit more expensive, not by much, where they have like these funky designs that tell you the size of pupils. No one really uses them, but whatever. These ones use batteries, and you just press it. Whereas this one, you will push down on the little clip, and that turns on. You don't need anything super expensive. You'll probably lose these. Batteries die. These fall and break. So don't go nuts and get anything expensive. Honestly, Amazon is your friend. So you can take a look later on our break, I have a stethoscope up here, you can kind of take a peek at it. This is, I believe it's the Classic 3. You can take a look at those pans to get an idea of what to get, but Amazon is your friend.
For the CPR, I took BLS, is that the right one too?
It should be the right one, so it should have covered, some of them call it BLS, it had to cover pediatrics, infants, child. It had to cover one person, two person, using a DVM and a UVM. If it didn't cover all that, then go back and do it. And then be careful of any of these places that are like Joe's First Aid and Waffle House, right? Like it has to be something that WSIB is like, oh yeah, we recognize that and it's worthwhile. Otherwise, you spend money. Maybe you got a good waffle, but you didn't get your money. Yep.
Where do you find the CPR training?
Anywhere. So there's tons of places that offer it. You can go like really anywhere. So like off the top of my head, St. John Ambulance, Heart Stroke, Life Saving Society, there's a bunch. There's a student in second year that is also trying to set up a CPR course for you guys at a discounted rate. And I think that he'll come talk to us next week. The course is usually 2 days. Sometimes we'll get 1 day online and then the second day come and do it. Other questions about that? Cool. So we're going to actually talk a little bit about the paramedic career. You don't have to write anything. This is simply for you guys to get perspective as to what you're going into and for you to get a little bit of perspective of what you know. So this is not acceptable. This is more so I want you to tell me what is a paramedic. I hear a voice. Is that you?
Help and care for someone?
Help and care for someone.
Person that's been through the training that provides care to someone in a hospital setting.
So person that's been through training that provides care for someone in pre-hospital setting. An emergency responder. Twinsies. Yes.
Ambulance driver.
Love you. So yeah, we do drive ambulance. We're not ambulance drivers. They're not police car drivers. They're not fire truck drivers, even though they do those things. We're not drivers, even though some of us will drive.
Healthcare on the go.
Healthcare on the go. What do you mean so fast? What else?
I would treat that as emergency healthcare, like, I wouldn't say that during, not from surgery on drugs, but like, you mean like, helping them get to the hospital and survive trip.
Yeah, so you help them get to the hospital. Uber. First responder, yeah. What else? Yes? From
To renew a PLS every
Buzz
year.
50?
The standard first aid, you don't. That lasts like 3 years.
You guys are right so far, other than
Mine expired. Oh no, mine's expiring.
you can try to redeem yourself from it. Sorry? Yeah. Anyone else? What else?
We're at all major sporting events.
So you attend sporting events?
Yeah, we're gonna be there.
No one else? Okay. Oh, yeah. A trusted profession. Most trusted. You trust me? Look at my eyes and say you trust me. So, most trusted profession. I think people do expect that. Anything else? You have a funny one.
Angels on wheels?
Ooh, why did you say that one?
You know what? I only know the ones I can.
Alright. I like Angels on Wheels. Angels on Wheels. What do you mean by Angels on Wheels?
Angels on wheels.
Oh.
Medical
Where
Uber.
are the angels on wheels?
If I was to ask you one more time, could you just say it louder?
Maybe.
If you haven't noticed, I want to have some fun in our class. And I expect us to like throw little jabs at one another. And they're meant with love and care, but I want us to have some fun, okay? Angels on wheels. All right, well, let me ask you this question. Why are you guys here? Don't tell me you want to graduate and start working anymore. But why did you choose paramedics? You like helping people? Okay.
My mom has the health scares and I had to call 911 a few times, so I have some, I don't know, I just wanna like pay it back, yeah.
Fair enough.
Give back to the community.
You want to give back to the community?
Help people work in healthcare, have a cool job, wear a nice uniform.
Yeah.
I wanna know how to act and what to do in an emergency.
So that's why you came? Okay.
Don't wanna work a 9 to 5 corporate job.
Yeah. Yeah, no 9 to 5s here. You're gonna learn a lot of those, not 9 to 5. Yeah, what else? Why else are people here? Yeah. See, superheroes on wheels. Gives them.
Everyone's here for the money.
So some personal impact stories here. Cool. Anyone else? Why are you here? Why are you here? Fair enough. You're all here for a reason, unless your mom was like, this is what you're doing, you pay for it, and you're coming. Did anyone have that? Okay, so then, what other reasons do you have?
I was homeless at 18, and a lot of paramedics have helped me with mental health, and it just made me realize that I did want to do something like that and give back to my community.
Awesome, thanks for sharing. Another reason why this has to be a safe space. So the recordings, we don't need to. Because I want everyone to be comfortable sharing. But you've already heard some people say, paramedics showed up at my house to help. I saw that and I want to do that. And so, if you haven't been impacted by a paramedic yet, it will happen at some point. And this class in here only gets better when we can share with each other. So that's my goal is that this semester we have the best class here where we're comfortable sharing. But is there any other reasons why you guys want to do this?
I like connecting with people and meeting people, like, I want to be someone that they can rely on.
Excellent.
It sounds kind of silly, what my mom used to watch a show called Night Watch.
Yeah.
And I was kind of young to watch it, but I fell in love with the show and Holly. She's a lieutenant who works in town and she's my hero growing up, so I wanted to.
Fair enough. You're gonna be Holly. You had your hand up. You wanna? No? You wanna share?
I was gonna ask you what made you want to be a paramedic.
I'll tell you in a minute.
Well, I actually wanted to go to med school initially, and in my undergrad, I volunteered as a first responder for the University of Ottawa.
Yeah.
And just like doing that for a couple of years, I don't know, I just felt like it was a really fulfilling job, and even like working as a volunteer, I saw some really messed up shit on campus. And I just feel like having like that connection you have like before you transfer patients to the hospital is like a very meaningful connection, and it kind of builds your trust. And I really wanted to
Absolutely.
build on that.
Absolutely. I thought I saw one other hand up there somewhere. No? Anyone else?
Surprised no one said drone ambulance.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. There's always someone who's like, I wanna drive an ambulance fast, sir. How many does it? I wanna drive an ambulance fast. Me too. Right? That's where the wee comes in.
For the money.
What's that?
For the money.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey. Right? For 2 years, you guys are gonna come out making very good money. Right? But that money also comes with some real responsibility. Like it's no joke when we say people's lives are in your hand. Your decision to do something or not to do something. Your ability to make a decision, make the right decision, is in your hands and their lives are sitting there. I don't make life-saving decisions every day. Sometimes I'm trying to think about like, do I want a burrito? Right? Or do I want shawarma? But we get paid very well for those days that we have to jump into action, where all of this strain, all this work needs to be paid off and done quick. So yeah, we make good money, but it's a lot of work, especially to get there. Anyone else?
I mean, I don't know what I said earlier, I think like, it's also just like a really useful career to be able to turn somebody's like worst day ever and restore a little bit of order into it.
Yeah, we're gonna be showing up in the people's worst days, for sure. Or like a little old lady or a little old man that's lonely and scared at night, and we're gonna show up. And all they need is someone to talk to, and you're like, okay, let me make you a cup of tea. I made tea for many people. And I sat down and had some biscuits and chatted with them, because that's all they needed. Not everything is gonna be life saving and fast. Anyone else?
Yeah, with this, there's no second chance at life.
Second chance at life. You know how many people I've killed? Well, no one's recording, right? Well, I didn't kill them, but there's a lot of people that will die in front of you. And it's hard to see. And there's times when we're working our butts off to try to save somebody, and you can't, even after all our efforts. But there are days where I make a cup of tea for someone, and that's the best thing ever, or where I've made an impact and saved someone's life. And in our Wednesday morning classes, we'll talk about some of those situations when we get to those topics. And I'll share some of those stories with you to relate and connect our readings, our anatomy, our med legal, and our therapy educations, so that you know how to perform on week 14 analysis.
How do you, like, do you even think there's a way to prepare for hard days like that?
There is, and we are actually going to talk about that. I think next week, and a little bit today. I do want to let you guys know a little bit more about the careers, because you did talk about a few things, but there's more to this career that you may not even be aware of. So I want to like touch base on this. Nothing that you need to know right now, nothing that you need to study for. This is just general information that you're going to learn, but I want us to have some insight and foresight. So there's essentially 3 levels of paramedics in Ontario. So we have our primary care paramedics, which you guys will be when you graduate out of this program. And you'll come work with me as a primary care paramedic. You can also end up doing primary care flight. So working on fixed wings, so planes, small wings, or helicopter. So helicopter is usually referred to as rotary or helicopter, and then fixed wing is where the things are not good. Okay? So that's primary care. So as you graduate, that's what you're going to do. You can then level up and become an advanced care paramedic with additional skill sets, additional medications that you'll be doing, and you can also do that as a flight. ACP, or advanced care paramedic. Again, more training, more testing. And then there's critical care paramedic, or CCP. They do even more. They don't respond to a call on the side of the road. Primary care paramedics, advanced care paramedics will pick people up, take them to the hospital. The hospital will do stuff and say, holy shit, we need them to go to a major trauma center or a major hospital that has way more things. And they gotta transport them out. They'll call the critical care paramedics. So you can do that on an ambulance, or you can do that in a helicopter or fixed wing. Toronto and another group called Orange, they're the only ones in the immediate GTA that have critical. Career opportunities or advancements, there's a few that we can do. So as you graduate, you can move into that advanced care paramedic that we talked about, that ACP, or that critical care. You can become that flight paramedic in any one of those levels of care. You can move on to what's called a preceptor or a field training officer. So a preceptor is a paramedic that will take students on to train them. So the very first opportunity you'll have to do that is to take on college students, teach them how to do stuff. You will all have a preceptor. You will, in the second year, go on an ambulance and be the student, and once you get a job, then you could be the instructor, right, on the animal development. So that's an opportunity. From there, you can also become an ACP, you can start precepting ACP students and such and such. Oh, you could be like me. You could come to a college and be an instructor at college, or you could be an instructor at the service that you work for, or a base hospital group. So you'll learn a little bit about a base hospital group from me. Peer educator, so in the services, they'll have people that will be training in the service for fellow colleagues. So what I'm doing now for you, I used to do at the my paramedic service. I was trained up. So now I took everything I learned there and I'm doing this. You can go into emergencies management. You can go into management period. You can do stuff like disaster response. So you can play on different roles, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. There's humanitarian things that you can do, like global medic and medics health. A lot of these humanitarian pieces are usually not paid and volunteer, but great opportunities. There's community paramedicine that's really making some headway, where the field is kind of transitioning into, let's get to people that are at home, that need care, that don't need to go to the hospital and sit around and wait. Let's see what we can do to help them out. Blood work, tests, different things like that. You can become a part of professional associations or their specialty teams. So I want to talk a little bit about specialty teams because there's a bunch of them out there, and I want you thinking about opportunities. So not only those ones, but opportunities like joining a bike team or CBRN team, tactical paramedics, and those things. So one of them that usually catches a lot of people's attention is tactical paramedics. A lot of services do have tactical paramedics. You could be a tactical paramedic at the PCP or ACP level. It's up to the service what they want to do. And essentially you are working alongside the police, but not just the police. So you're working alongside like SWAT, TAC team, tactical response. So serving warrants and going into those high risk areas, you'd be working alongside them. The motto for the TAC team is protect the protectors. So you're there in the line of fire with the people going in to manage those situations. And the goal is that if one of them gets hurt, you're able to provide care right away. Or if you guys come across people that are hurt, you can help them out. TAC teams in the paramedic world came about thanks to the United States with all the shootings that were happening in the schools. Cops were going in, trying to neutralize the threat, but people, they were stepping over people that were bleeding, and they kept going, and no one was there to care for them. And they recognized that that's not healthy. So now they've changed their model and have paramedics, so they'll step over someone, and the TAC medics will take care of that person and then join the team. And the care that they do is short and sweet, just try to stop bleeding. Another area you can go into, which a lot of our graduates have gone into, is the actual armed forces. And they can participate there, so they'll do additional training and be a part of the armed forces. Now, you can't just be a medic in the armed forces without being a soldier first. So you might get hired on as a medic, but they're going to put you through boot camp and teach you how to So they'll teach you that stuff and then they'll get you working. Another opportunity that is available to most of us when we start working is working on an emergency response unit. Now this has a lot of different names. So RRU, CRU, FRU, and they're all like essentially emergency response unit, emergency first response unit, rapid response unit, like it's all little acronyms. But what it is you drive around in a badass SUV by yourself and you show up at calls first. Usually you show up to the higher acuity calls, the more serious calls, where time is of the essence. You don't hang out at a base, you're usually in your ride, and then they'll be like, yo, you got a call. Cool. And then you're gonna show up and you're by yourself. So you're gonna be first on scene and you gotta do the work by yourself. Another team that happens, usually not in the winter, is bike teams. So they'll have bike teams in different areas. Niagara, Ottawa have two really big bike teams. Toronto has a bike team, and they'll end up covering parks, they'll cover parades, they'll cover different events. So it's usually like an adjunct, something extra that you can do. You can be a medic and do the bike team on the side. So if you have nice legs, you can do that. Another one is Marine units. So the Marine units are usually paired with the police. So the police will have a boat on the water because that's where boats work best. And they'll have a medic. So if there's something that happens on the water or a cottage, you'll end up being the medic that attends those kind of calls. And then we have the CBRNE, so chemical, biological, radioactive, nuclear, and explosive team, additional training to deal with those factors. So Toronto and Ottawa have the biggest CBRNE teams. They cost a lot of money. The training is quite intense. So these teams will actually be shared. So if something was to happen in Durham region, York region, or Mississauga, Halton, the team from Toronto could go and support them. There's another group called HUSAR, so Heavy Urban Search and Rescue. This is a team of people that come together. They include police, fire, paramedics, engineers, like a whole whack of people. So they'll show up at disasters. So typically if a building collapses, landslides, things like that, they'll show up and they'll figure out how to rescue people and search for them. This is again an adjunct, an extra thing. In Canada, we have a big HUSAR team out of Alberta that gets dispatched. We have a team here in Toronto as well, and a couple other places. So those are a little bit of the things. And my audio's not working. I was going to show you a pretty badass video, but there's no point watching it without the sound because it's not good.
Unless you want to mime it.
I could sign language it. Interpretive dance?
Yeah. Then dance would be big.
So we won't do this. But we will take a break and then we'll be coming back. Is there any questions before we go on break? Yeah.
I've had a few friends become like reserve medics when they're studying and vice versa. I'm looking into it. I don't know how it works exactly yet.
Shoot me an email and I can put you in touch with people.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then you can start looking into it. Sorry?
I'm also interested in the reserve.
Yeah, shoot me an email and then I can be able to link people up together. Yeah.
How long do you have to work as a PCP?
Great question. How long do I have to work as a PCP to become an ACP? It depends. And you guys are going to hate that because that's going to be a lot of what I'm going to say. It depends. But I will say that there's really two ways to become an ACP. You are working and then your service offers the opportunity to go to school to become an ACP. They will pay your wages for that term. They will usually pay for your schooling as well. So you will make your salary and they will pay your school bill. But you got to pass, right? And then usually when you do that, it's part of a contract, you owe them time. So you can't go work in the service, get your ACP, and then be like, later, bitches. I'm gonna go over here because this is where I want to be, but you were going to offer it to me faster. So there's usually a contract where you have to work for a certain amount of time, and if you don't, you got to pay them back. So that's one option through your service. The other option is you go to one of a couple schools and you pay to go to school. So you won't be able to work full time. So you'll have to either take a leave or adjust your schedule or reduce the number of hours that you're working. You will pay that school to teach you and you'll go through that whole thing. So those are the two options. How long before you can be an ACP? It depends on the service. So some services it could be a couple of years and others it's like 10 plus years. So some people are like, it's going to take me 10 years. I'm going to go and do it privately. And some people are out of service where they're like, oh, it's in 4 years. Cool.
If you go privately, do you get hired as an ACP?
So, great question. You don't have to actually be working as a PCP. You can graduate here and the next week jump into an ACP class, do that for a couple months, and then go get a job.
But who would hire you without experience as an ACP? If you do that, what you just said, who would hire you as an ACP without any experience?
People will, because there's a need. The problem is what you said, you have no experience. So you've heard the term zero to hero. you're jumping into a role that's really challenging. Imagine you're working with Amy, myself, or Alex, which you guys will meet this afternoon, because we're all working medics. You're working with us, and you show up as ACP, and you've never worked a service. And you're the one that's gonna be calling the shots. You're the one that's gonna be making the decisions. You're the one that's gonna decide, do we go to the closest hospital or the most appropriate hospital, which is further away? You're the one that has to make all those calls. And I'm gonna be like, which one to do there, big shot? Do people do it? Absolutely. Do I shit on them? No. Is it a challenge? Hell yeah. It is a huge learning curve. The skill is not the hard part. I can teach you guys all the stuff to be an ACP. The hard part about the ACP is the decision making. Not with the directives, not with the protocols, it's all that other stuff. How do I organize all the other medics that are here? Because a lot of times, as an ACP, you're showing up to a hot call where there's other medics working and you need additional skills. And you're coming in and you're making those calls. Stop doing CPR on that person, they're gonna die. And put your resources here. I'm gonna prioritize this person versus that person. I'm gonna leave you to do what you're doing, and you're like, please help me. I'm gonna go here. It's those decisions that are the hard ones that you only get from working. And your first year of working sucks. It is fun and scary and sucks because you're by yourself, meaning you have no preceptor, and everyone you're working with is more senior to you, and you're like, I don't know these people. It's like right now. It's like yesterday when you showed up and you look to the right, to the left, top, bottom, and you're like, I don't know these people. Imagine that for a whole year working as a paramedic when you're still not sure of how to do the job. It's scary. Now imagine doing that and you're the one in charge. That's fucked. Right? So would I recommend it? No. Do people do it? Yes. Do I know people that have done it? Yeah. And when they're with me, I'm like, yo, maybe we should go here. And they're like, really? And I'm like, but the chicas, I'm like, maybe we should go. And I'll support them. But not everyone's like that. There's other people who are gonna be like, you make the call. And you're gonna make a call and they know it's wrong, they're like, okay. Because they know you're gonna wear it, and that's not cool. But anyways, we can talk more about that later. Tim Hortons takes a long time, but let's try to be here in 10 minutes. So, in 5-6 minutes after.
Wait, what the hell? Thomas isn't even here. Wait, no. He is, or is it?
Bro, I have to fart.
Yo,
Like, low
yo,
key.
go outside, bro. Not here.
Low key. And you'll smell worse things on the field, don't worry.
Nah, nah.
You wanna go to Thomas with the other guys?
Where is he?
Up there. I'm like, how to scratch?
What's up? How's the break? Yeah.
Ooh, nice. That's 2-0. Hey Halima, when's your lab? When's your lab? When's your lab? Oh, afternoon, me too. Yeah. I would have preferred Friday too. No, I get you. We'll make it through. I hope so. Do you just have the 2 classes too? Oh, communicate. Oh, the writing one. Hey.
Took a while.
Yeah.
What's your name?
I'm Jordan.
Jordan?
Yeah, what's your name?
Naomi, nice to meet you.
Back
Pleasure.
for another.
Back again.
Back again.
How
It was-
excited are you? Scale 1 to 10.
Honestly,
Yeah,
10 out of 10.
it's a little exciting. I didn't get any email or anything though, Alex.
Really?
Yeah, I had to like go and like do it myself.
I didn't get any email.
Oh, you didn't either?
I got 2 emails.
I would have liked to get the emails.
Wait, what? No, actually, I'm lying.
You got the email? I didn't get no email. Bullshit. When we were coming back. Are you a new student or returning? Yeah. It's gonna be fun. A lot of work though.
I'm telling you.
Oh shit, they all came back too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be exciting, don't you worry. But, you know, nerve wracking.
My new energy is just gonna dissipate after today.
Aw, don't say that. Yeah. Gotta stay hydrated.
That's some crazy hydration, dude.
Just the one?
I drink like half a day.
That's good.
But it's a whole gallon. You're supposed to drink all of it.
The
per
gallon.
day. Yeah. Well, like if I work out, I can probably drink about 3/4.
I'm lucky if I get to like later.
That's
Do you want hydrate?
What's that? Ooh, what's this? Is it like gum?
It's candy.
Candy, eh?
Candy.
Oh,
I'm a candy addiction.
I'm all about candy.
Candy addiction. If you ever see something I candy, it's her.
Yeah, I'm a second row kind of guy.
Really?
Yeah, this is generally around the area I like to sit. Typically, I usually sit closer there, but generally where I like to sit. It's your first semester?
First semester since 10 years.
Yeah.
Semester. We go to PHC.
Oh, okay. How's your PSC?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the worst thing ever. It's not like my favorite thing ever.
Yeah. And you really wanted the degree, eh?
No, I just didn't know how to apply directly to freaking paramedics support.
I mean, maybe you're able to. I don't know. If you, because I know some UPSC students, they can do all their college stuff and then they can do the university stuff later.
I don't know how to do it.
Yeah. I mean, if you have success advisor, maybe you can talk to them.
I'll just finish it the way I started it.
So what, you did one semester, you're doing one semester now. Are you going to do a semester of university after this? Or is it like
It's integrated. So like I have a bio class on Thursdays.
That sounds fun.
Super fun. So fun.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It's not the worst thing ever.
Just be mindful because this program alone is also just try your best. You'll be okay. Yeah. I'm Jordan. We can exchange it. I'm that guy.
What an interesting guy. You don't want the Apple system, you just want the iPhone.
I literally just want an iPad, yeah. I was actually considering getting like a MacBook.
I missed the first one. The Mac was so nice.
Yeah. What's that? Oh, it is?
Yeah, it's
You get it in black?
It's new. I literally got it when it just came out.
Wow.
I like just released this color. And I was like, that looks really nice.
Yeah, it looks very sleek.
It's really nice.
Wow. I would have never thought that's a MacBook.
It's a little dirty. I've had it for years.
Very nice. Thanks for the candy, by the way.
You're welcome.
Delicious. Haley, how are you? I'm gonna come to you. sitting in for classes? Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. I'm happy you're in good spirits. Oh, sorry. This is the 170? Oh, okay, that's the one I got it to. That's the one I got it to. It's kind of, like, is it like a creative writing thing?
Yeah, essentially like it's going into the creative, what is it, the first you have to analyze the second one you watch it, the first one you analyze it.
That sounds a little bit better.
But the last one you get to
Do you know what grade we're supposed to get? Is it like 60 and up still? Like in our regular stuff? Because I just want to like pass. I really care about.
use it to like bump your GPA.
Life's been okay. I've been having to do a lot of physio because like I hurt my back. But like right now I have like a tiny bit of nerve pain. I'm hoping I'm not DOA before I start this number. Yeah.
But I was going to get us
Like, I'll be okay. Like, before, like, I'd stand and then I would start getting nerve pain and then I'd have to sit. Now I'm okay. So I'm actually, like, I'm happy I can, like, walk. It's just been so annoying. Plus, like, as soon as as soon as I hit 30, all the bullshit started happening. I'm like, why? Like, I don't get sick, and then I got sick. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I got the flu. I'm like, I never got the flu in my life. Yeah, just don't do it. Yeah, that's the helpful tip that I give.
Thank you. No, you're good. I finished working at summer camp, so I'm ready.
You were working at summer camp?
Yes, I worked as director for a while.
Oh.
I was crazy.
That's so cool.
I was kayaking over in the bike.
Kayaking is also fun.
Guys, I got my fitness out, like my arms.
Yeah.
I was looking at my hands right, I'm getting
Nice.
I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm just fighting
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get started. I don't know if you noticed, but I was so popular up here. So as I mentioned earlier, I want you guys asking me questions as much as possible while we're on the subject. So if we're on the slide, or while these slides, ask them. There's some questions that you're going to ask that are a little bit more one-on-one. That's fine. But if it's anything to do a content, ask it. Otherwise, we're going to have a huge lineup here. And I know that some of you might be like, well, I feel embarrassed to ask. I don't want to ask in front of everybody. They're going to think I'm stupid, or I don't know what I'm talking about. All right. We're all here to learn. There's no way you know everything. I may say things out of turn or in a way that is confusing because I'm a man and I'm Portuguese and I'm old. I may say something you're like, what? Just ask me again to explain or to clarify. This whole idea about being embarrassed, you really need to get comfortable being uncomfortable and ask yourself. You're spending time and energy and money to be here, take advantage of it. So if you don't ask or you don't get that help, you're throwing away money and your time. Okay? So while we're on topics, ask. And then I'll help you guys out as best possible while we're on. If it's private stuff, then we'll do one-on-one. Oh, I'm sorry.
There's a lot more. Do you come here first?
No, we are going straight to our lab, which is actually on this floor. So if you come to this room, you want to be out here, walk straight, and before you get to those doors, turn left and walk straight until you get to the end of the hall. And our labs are in that far corner. So today you go kind of scope it out. So second floor in that back corner. If you came to school and you crossed a bridge, a small little bridge, you're in that side on the second floor. If you came and saw the ambulance, this is this floor, walk this way, turn left. If you came from the corner, all you have to do is come up the flight and walk straight. Cool. We're just asking for it. And we want to be on time. So this week is going to be kind of difficult to sort out how long it'll take to get here, not get here, do you have parking spots, not parking spots, all those things. But moving forward, we really want to be on time because we're going to start, all our classes are going to start and move forward. More so when it comes to tests, show up late for a test, sorry. If the test is 2 hours and you show up an hour late, you have 1 hour. Don't even ask, just start circling. Okay?
So I have my CPRC plus AED. I'm guessing that's not the same thing as BLS.
Depends on who it's with. If you
It's St.
cover-
John Ambulance.
It should say, for St. John Ambulance, it should say HCP, healthcare providers.
Would that count though? If it
I'd have
does
to
say?
look and see what you cover.
Okay.
So
Cause it covered adults, baby, injuries,
they cover ventilations
CPR.
with a BVM, single responder, double responder, and AEDs.
Yes,
All of those things,
yeah.
then it should be okay.
It
But
was 2 days, I think.
call them and double check with them.
Okay, thank you.
And then if they say no, then say, what do I need to do to bump it up to that? And it
Okay.
might be a small section. So if you have something higher than your standard first aid and CPR, you still need to get standard, you still need to get those levels because the school system needs to check off those boxes that we've got listed. All right, so we're gonna start our content that you guys will need to know. This is pretty basic. Most of the stuff you already know, but I gotta cover it. That's why they're paying me the $1 bajillion to be here. Is to teach this stuff. It's part of the stuff that I want you guys to be aware of, so you can start implementing. So we're going to be talking about wellness, which really is not thinking of like, are you sick or not sick, but like, how are you? How are you doing as a whole, as a person? How are you feeling? So a couple weeks ago, you guys were probably like chilling, in summertime, relaxing, no big deal. And then like last Friday on the weekend, you're like, oh shit, school's starting, I'm kind of nervous. Or maybe you were like, oh, okay, school's starting, what outfit am I gonna wear? But then yesterday when you showed up, you might have started, you were like, oh man, a little nervous, a little scared, what's this room, who are my teachers, who are the class meeting today, holy shit, there's a lot of people, oh, the wrong class, I'm supposed to be here, they want to tell me to go somewhere else, right? So you start to feel a little bit nervous and all this. That's normal. Wellness, we're going to look at everything. So we're going to look at holistically you, and this translates holistically to the patient as well. And it's also going to translate holistically to your partner that you're working with, because we're going to look that after each other. So the way it's going to work is we are partners. So you're going to be thinking about yourself, and you're going to be thinking about me, and everybody else. So I look after my partner on the truck, and he looks after me. And we check in on each other. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to learn these skills now so we can apply them later. The question was asked, how do you manage with some of the things that you do and see and deal with? We're starting today with that. Recognizing your wellness and recognizing someone else's wellness. So when their behavior starts to change, you can check in on them and provide that care and support, and vice versa. So if I see it all of a sudden you're not as talkative and stuff, I'll be like, you good? So we're going to check in with each other and make sure we're okay. Depending on the books that you read, they talk about wellness in a couple different areas, but they all really revolve around the same kind of things. So your physical well-being. So are you okay? Do you have pain and ache, soreness? Because if you do, that's going to impact your wellness. If you're like foot hurts and you're like limping, you're not in optimal health. Same when it comes to social. So if you're isolated, if you're not engaging with people, if you have to move from school and you don't know as many people, those kind of things are going to impact you. So we want to be aware of that. Same with your environment and economic status. So being a student really kind of mitigates how much money you have to be able to afford doing things. So now that you're studying and the books cost way too much money here, and now you got to get a uniform, and you got to get fucking boots, and a stethoscope, and those fancy pen lights. Like you're like, oh, and belts. You're like, financially, you're really like tapped. I guess it's ramen for a month, right? Those things are gonna stress you out. You have these bills to pay and those kind of things. Same with psychological. So if you're stressed out, a family member is sick, dying, something's happened, those things are all going to come and impact us. If they impact us, it's going to have an effect on how we perform day to day. We're not motivated to wake up, don't want to do the effort, don't want to put it in, I don't want to come to school, I don't want to read next Carolyn, I don't want to do that stuff. But this also translates to the patients that we show up to care for. If they have pain, an ache, if they're financially strapped, these are all things that are going to impact their wellness. Another way to look at it, and I posted the previous slide here, is these things. So when we think about like, are you connected with people? Are you kind of hanging out with people? Are you doing stuff? Are you being active and participating in different things? Even just going outside for a walk, if that's something you like to do. If you walked your dog at home, and now you moved here, and your dog is not here, go walk your pretend dog. But be outside, be active. The challenge that is going to happen to you guys now is studying. You're going to be so busy reading all these textbooks, studying for tests, learning new skills, coming here and practicing after hours that you don't have time to ride your bike, walk your dog, do the things that you used to do, and that's going to impact your wellness. You're not going to be able to socialize with your friends as often as you did this summer because you have different focus. That's going to impact your social and your connection with other people. It's going to affect your wellness. COVID sucked because of these things, right? The other piece is like, I want you being aware of how you're doing. Take notice of how are you feeling when you get up. Are you motivated, not motivated, are you tired, is something sore? Like all those little bits and factors, just checking in with yourself. Because you'll do that with each other. And you've done that through your whole life. Friends of yours that you've seen at school, family members, you know when someone's off. Some people, you can tell. They're like, but other people are a little bit more subtle, and you're like, you okay? I'm okay. But we want to be taking notice of these things. If we start taking notice of them now, we can manage them for ourselves and each other. But these are the skills you want to develop, so when you show up at a stranger's house, you can pick up on these subtle cues of someone you've never met. And that's where you start being a badass medic. Angel on wings. Wee-woo driver. Right? So we want to be paying attention to these things for ourselves. The other thing too is I need you guys to take breaks. So you're going to be studying, you're going to be doing all this stuff. Go play a video game. Go watch a movie. If you're into like photography, go do some photos. If you like learning something else, take a little break and do that. Recharge your wellness so then you can come back re-energized. Feed into the things that we need for our well-being. Fitness is another component that as paramedics we need to be attentive to. So our wellness ties into our fitness. As you can tell, I'm totally buff. Fitness. So we do need to be fit. So part of this program, you guys need to start exercising. So I need you guys to be on top of this. So with exercise, there's a couple things. It has to be done regularly. So if you're like, I don't know, it was Labor Day, I always go for a run on Labor Day. I do the Labor Day marathon. And then the rest of the year, I do nothing. think about that next run. If you only do it like that, you're like this weekend warrior, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna pull a hammy, you're like, but I want you exercising regularly. It's gonna be part of your wellness, but you're gonna lift a lot of things. 107 pounds in week 5, up and downstairs. So you're like 170. What? Your exercise does need to be something vigorous. So you do need to build up a little bit of a sweat, get your heart rate up. So we are looking for your cardiovascular, because that needs to be taken care of too. So cardiovascular strength training, that has to happen. So think about your flexibility, think about your strength, think about your cardiovascular. You will be walking up and down 2 flights of stairs as part of your lift test. So you will grab what looks like a chair. You will walk with 170 pounds plus the weight of the chair with somebody else up 2 flights of stairs. Then, when you get there, you're going to carry it down 2 flights of stairs. Then, you're going to change positions with the other person, carry it up 2 flights of stairs, and then carry it back down 2 flights of stairs. That's 1 of 4 lifts. So all you people are like, 170? I can do that in my sleep. Sure, but is your cardiovascular right there? We work 12-hour shifts. We lift people all day long. We need to be cardiovascularly fit, and we need to be strong. The other one is flexibility. Because if you can't bend past this, how are you going to lift someone off the floor? You're going to hurt yourself. So we've got to work on our flexibility, we've got to work on our strength, we've got to work on our cardiovascular. Nutrition, we have to also eat healthy. This impacts our wellness, but also our lifestyle. So we need to be thinking about as health food type. So we got to slow down on the amount of these that we have. And these guys, right? We do need these pick-me-ups, but we can't be relying on all that. We still have to be having some water and eating healthy. We talked a lot about food already today, about shawarmas and burritos and waffles. I love all that stuff, but we have to make some healthy choices as well. One of the challenges that we have as paramedics working 12-hour shifts, working days, nights, and weekends is accessibility to food. Nighttime, it's all fast food, it's all shit. It tastes good, but it's not good for you. And those things are going to lead to issues with our wellness, our mental health, and physical health. So I want you guys to be aware of that. And then the other one that really impacts healthcare workers and paramedics is going to be our sleep. So I want to make sure you guys are sleeping well. This is going to impact you right now. All the stuff we talked about is starting this week. I want you guys being aware of it and doing something about it. So there's something called the circadian rhythm. This really helps us to manage some of our hormones and know when to go to bed and say, wait. So sun comes up, we're like, oh, it's daytime. So we start to release less melatonin to wake up, and it regulates different hormones. You'll learn all about this in an as well. Sun goes down, all of a sudden your body's like, hey, it's time to get ready for bed. Melatonin starts to increase, body temperatures change, and you're like, I'm feeling tired, I'm going to go to bed. Except if you work nights, then you can't go to bed when you work nights. So it fucks with your circadian rhythm. It really messes it up. So things that gets impacted or that circadian rhythm deals with is sleepfulness and weight, body temperature, the immune system, hormones, metabolism, cognitive function, how we deal with stress and all those kind of things. So really like day in, day out. A couple things I want to bring to your attention is that the effects of not following that circadian rhythm will have impacts on those things. What do you, from experience, knowledge, reading a textbook, watching Night Watch, what do you guys think are going to be some issues that we will have as healthcare workers, and how will they impact us? Working nights and days and flip flop.
If you're working nights, the lights, like you're gonna have a lot of light in the hospital. So going back home to sleep, it's gonna be real tough to like go back to sleep for your 7 hours or whatever hours you want to sleep for, because now you're gonna be awake for most of the night, and then it becomes a pattern.
Yep.
Staying alert and staying focused while you're like trying to save someone's life.
During the day, during the night, or doesn't matter?
It could be both, depending. I'd say more nights then.
Okay. Being able to focus, okay.
Your mood will definitely
Mood will be affected in night shifts, yeah, when you're working nights. And it doesn't matter, like, your mood will be impacted on nights and on the daytime during the working night. Anything else?
I was gonna say really irritable.
I'm not irritable. You're irritable. Yeah, you're pretty irritable. Sometimes pretty mean.
You can get like slower, like mentally exhausted.
Yeah, you're slower. Can you tell I worked a night shift last night? Say no.
I can't tell.
Okay, good. Yeah, you might get mentally slower. Yeah. Say a little bit louder because I can hear you.
When people are short of sleep, sometimes they take shortcuts and you can get hurt or make mistakes.
Yeah, mistake shortcuts and we might get hurt or make errors. So clearly, if you're working nights, you're going to be tired, right? So when we're fighting our circadian rhythm, we are going to be tired. You're supposed to be sleeping at nights. So that is going to be a piece where you're like really fatigued and you're fighting sleep. Then doing that for a while, you start to get these sleep disorders. You can end up having insomnia, having trouble falling asleep, or staying asleep for extended periods of time, having increased drowsiness when you change over to a day shift. You're more tired and those things. Mood, irritable. Well, I'm not irritable, right? Mood for sure. So fatigue and not getting enough sleep is going to definitely impact your ability to manage and deal with stressors. So you're going to start showing some issues with your mood. And it could be also throwing off your hormones because your body doesn't know when to wake, it doesn't have the time to regulate as it normally would. And then decreased cognitive abilities. So it's harder for you to do some simple tasks. Even thinking about like, oh, how do I change a patient's weight from kilograms to pounds or pounds to kilograms, which you guys will have to do starting next thing. So you're gonna have to figure out how much medication am I going to give based on someone's weight, and I got to do all this math, and you're like, this is simple math, but on a night shift, you're like, I don't know. Or you're taking a person's pulse rate, and you're like, I can't even do that. It affects our ability to problem solve and those kind of things. Reflexes, we talked about shortcuts. So it impacts your ability to reflex. So you're driving, and a car pulls in front of you, something happens, your ability to react, or you're on a call and a dog comes out or someone comes out, and your ability to react to those situations, or the patient changes their level of awareness or their condition. So sometimes our reactions are going to be slower. The other one is going to be our immune system is impacted, and it's going to be making us more susceptible to illness and disease. Right? So those are factors. And we're going to see this happening with you guys this semester, because some of you guys are going to be studying a little bit later into the evening, waking up early, and all this stuff is going to start happening. And then poor decision making, like these dingleberries over here from second years that are coming into class, making poor decisions because they are not getting sleep. Well,
When you're not getting sleep, 4 hours is enough.
is it?
3 hours is plenty.
You came to bug me?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
How's it going? Are you serving me?
Are you asking me? Well, ask them. They'll tell you how it's going.
How's it going?
Woo!
Everyone already stressed out?
Yes.
8:30
Good.
a.m. class.
Oh, I love it.
It's the best class on a Wednesday morning. Right?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Get out.
Hey, you're not gonna lecture?
No.
I don't even know what they're doing.
I don't.
I don't sleep. How am I supposed to teach this?
What is your patient?
Love you guys. Love you too. So when we think about these impacts, there's going to be a couple other factors. Our stress levels, we're not going to be able to manage them as well. Things are going to start frustrating us. And we see this in the workplace, and you're going to see this here. We see this as you guys start to approach the end of the semester. You're all like yelling at each other. And it's entertaining. But it sucks. But you're all stressed out, you're all angry. So we're going to see these issues start to happen. This really is challenging when you're doing like a night shift. Some people call it the graveyard shift because you're working all night. It really, really impacts your ability to manage And then we kind of talked about health problems. So one of it is because of hormonal imbalances and changes, the lack of sleep, all those factors start to impact us health-wise. And it leads us to issues like having increased issues with diabetes and heart. So issues with our heart. So dysrhythmias, heart attacks, those kind of things, increased cholesterol. Those are factors. I think one of the things that add to it is that we eat like shit on nights. So we're not eating healthy, we're not exercising as much because we're on nights, we're tired, we're sleeping all day. Those kind of factors come into play and it impacts all those things. And then another one is increased accidents for healthcare workers that do work on nights. Because you're tired and you're driving and then you end up dozing off, your reaction time isn't as good, and get into accidents. People are waking up, going to work, they're refreshed, we're not. We're tired, dozing off, and these things happen. And then the other one with us is trouble concentrating, so our ability to actually concentrate and study, and then poor job performance, so we're not able to make good decisions, we're going to make mistakes and errors. All these things are common knowledge in regards to healthcare workers that are working nights or not getting a lot of sleep. These are also the same kind of things that are going to impact you guys while you're here studying for the next 2 years. And you've already experienced this. I'm sure that if I was to ask you to raise hands, have any of these things happened to you guys where you're tired, irritable, because you're studying? Maybe like, yeah. So I want you recognizing these things and trying to do something about them as best as possible. You can also be aware of it when you start working. So some tips that might be able to help you guys for night shift workers. I love how it says, try to avoid working a number of night shifts in a row. Your boss is going to tell you when you're working. However, there's a big push with services not to keep people on too many shifts in a row on nights. The most now that people will typically do is 4 nights in a row. And then you'll have usually 3 days off, and you'll switch on to days. And you'll do either 3 or 4 days. Most services. Some services have actually changed it where you only do 2 nights. So that's it. But you have less time. So you'll do 2 days, 2 nights, 2 days off, 2 days, 2 nights, 3 days off, stuff like that. So those shifts and those rotations are managed by your service. We don't really have a lot of options around it, but I want you to be aware of it. When you're brand new and you start working, a lot of times you won't have a schedule. They'll tell you when do you want to work, when can you work. Just be careful about working a lot of nights in a row. Be aware that it could impact you and could affect you. Avoid rotating shifts, so day, night, swapping them back and forth. That becomes challenging for your body to climatize. Some people, if they choose to work nights, will only work nights, and they stay on that rotation. I sleep all day, I'm up at night, so they're like a vampire. But they're not flip-flopping, and their body starts to customize to that. When we flip-flop, that's when we find it really hard, and that's when we have a lot of those issues happening with ourselves. The long commutes, obviously if you're tired after a night shift, and you've done a couple of them, and you're not sleeping well, there's a risk of you falling asleep and getting hurt into an accident. And then the other one is keep your workplace lights on. If you go to any paramedic station, it is dark. Except for where like the managers are. But if you go to any paramedic station, we will find ways to turn off the lights. So even like with the sensors, we'll cover them up. So it could be the middle of the day, it'll be dark, because people just want to sleep all day. But ideally, we want to have the lights on, stimulate us to think that it's daytime, so when we go home, we can kind of go to bed. We want to limit our amount of caffeine, although we may need to have it. When I'm working on nights, there comes a time where I'm like, I want you, but I can't have you. I need you, but you're not right for me. Right? So at a certain time, I have to stop my caffeine intake, otherwise I won't be able to sleep when I get home in the morning. So you want to be careful about this. You may need these drinks, but we got to be cognizant about it. And then when you're heading home, bright lights, if it's sunny outside, it's really hard then to fall asleep. So ideally when I work nights, I try to be working at 6 o'clock, so I finish at 6 a.m., 6:30, and then I try to race home and I'll put on my sunglasses. Right? I'm literally like, I'm melting, right? It sucks when I have a later shift or something happens and I don't finish on time, and now it's like 8 o'clock and the sun is bright. Now it's hard for me to fall asleep. Which then brings us to your room. You want to try to darken it up as much as possible. I've used garbage bags on my windows to darken it up, so I don't even have little cracks of light. And the other one is like, don't be on your phones. Electronics, put it away. Turn off your phone, put it on silence, tell people that you need to sleep, right? So try to manage those things. Those are going to help you when you're trying to get some rest, especially after night shift. And it really sucks when your neighbor decides to cut the lawn and you're like,
So what exactly is semester 2 going to look like for us when we go in and do our like quiz?
so you will have some clinicals in semester 2, but it'll be days. You don't start doing night shifts until end of semester 3, but definitely semester 4. And when you are in semester 4, you are on campus 1 day a week, and the rest you're writing out. So you follow their schedule.
So is it, so it's like full shifts?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But we'll get there after. Questions about that? It's pretty straightforward, right? Like eat some vegetables once in a while, make your mom happy, right? Get some sleep. All right, now we're going to go into our communicable diseases. So infection control and communicable diseases. Well, we've come from SARS, or not SARS, COVID. There's other funkiness out there that is so nasty. It's not as deadly. It's gross. That we need to talk about. So, infection and communicable diseases, we kind of have to figure out some definitions. And I think if you guys have any of my slides open now or printed them out, these are blank. So don't worry about filling them out. This came right out of your textbook. And like I said before, this is your study tool. So week 5, when we have our test, pull the slide up. Can you answer this statement? It'll be blank. Fill it out. If you can't, you know you have to study it. If you can, you fit. So an invasion or multiplication of microorganisms in the body causing cellular damage. Communicable, I think we can all kind of figure it out. It doesn't have to be these words exactly, but the ability to spread a disease from person to person. So some diseases can be spread from an animal to a person, but essentially it's person to person or it's affecting the individual. Communicable diseases are those illnesses in which spread from one person to another person, either directly or indirectly. These are fairly common statements that I think all of you guys could answer. If I ask you, I can show you. But you need to be aware of it. The other thing that you need to be aware about is our chain of infection. So for us to get infected, there's a chain, there's a bunch of things that have to happen. We're going to talk about that. So the first one is an infectious agent. So these are like bacteria, parasites, fungi, different organisms, so microorganisms, that are capable of causing that disease or illness. So we have to have that. So we have to actually have the organism, the bacteria. We have to have a place where it kind of resides. So it normally will sit somewhere. So the reservoir. So it sits somewhere. So this could be inside of a human, this could be in water, this can be in food, and a bunch of different things. So it sits there. So we have an organism that can make someone sick, and we have a place where it sits, our reservoir. And then it actually has to move out of there. So it has to get out. So this can be through secretions, it can be through stuff like blood, feces, urine, those kind of things. So it's a way to get out. Then we have the mode of transition. So it's getting out, but how's it moving? So physical contact, is it going to be like in the air, droplets, physical touch, those kind of things. So we have the agent, so which is the infectious piece. So we have the bacteria or the fungi or whatever it is. It's in someone or it's in the water. There's a way for it to actually move, and it's going to be either droplet, airborne, those kind of things. but now it needs to actually get in somewhere. So it has to get into that person or that host, right? So the agent enters, and it's usually through mucous membranes for us, respiratory system, or broken skin. And then the person also has to be kind of susceptible. So they don't have immunization to those things, or their immune system is weaker, and all of a sudden they do get infected. So when we think about exam time and winter time, people are getting coughs or spread around. So someone has a virus, it's living in them, they cough, it flies out, it's floating around, someone coughs on you, or you decide to lick the thing that they coughed on, something happens, it gets into you. You guys have been stressed out, working night shifts, not sleeping well because you're studying, eating like shit, right? All the things that we talked about. So now your immune system is a little bit compromised, and you get sick. But then some people have immunizations, and they're less susceptible to get sick with certain things. So these are some of the factors that are going to impact us. Now, anywhere we stop this, we can block things. So if we can wear a mask, goggles, and gloves, even though I'm working night shifts and eating a lot of Burger King, I can slow down or stop that infection from happening. We could have all those pieces, but even though I'm a susceptible host, my immunization is weak, I'm tired, I'm fatigued, but if I work all those masks, gloves, gowns, I'm protecting myself to reduce that risk. Or, if we sanitize things, then maybe we won't be able to catch it from physical contact or droplets. And we can actually break that. So we're going to look at another example. I think I posted something like this for you guys on the handouts as well, right? Yes, maybe? No? Okay. So this will be another way for us to do it, and I want us to do it together. So an infectious agent, microorganism that's capable of causing disease, right? So we're going to talk about influenza. Every year we see it, right? So common cold. Reservoir, so where the germs are normally living, where do you think the influenza virus lives? Oh, this is the interactive part. I asked a question, you guys are going to tell me stuff. So where do you think it lives? You might be right, you might be wrong.
In the person who has it?
Yes. Can we narrow it down a little bit more? What do you guys think? Skin? Respiratory system?
The air passages.
Okay. So air passages, lungs, right? So think about when you're sick with the common cold, you're coughing. So yes, excellent. Right on cue. So what's the portal of exit? Coughing, sneezing. Good. So because it's in the respiratory system, right, our tract, so coughing, sneezing, it's going to come out. If you blow your nose in a tissue, is it in the tissue? Yeah. Cool. So mode of transmission, people are usually going to like touch it. So, oh, here's your pen right back. There you go. Right? I'm trying to give you something to try to be nice. So, mode of transmission from touching. One of our tools? Yeah, one of our tools. Do you think that if we were assessing a patient that had influenza and called us, that we would want to listen to their lungs?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We would, right? So I'm going to be like, I'm just going to listen to your lungs, right? Is it okay if I listen to the back of your lungs? I'm going to put my stethoscope on your back.
Yeah.
Okay. During this time, they end up coughing. Clean? No. Then I'm going to go like this. I'm like, okay, so, you know, when I listen to your lungs, I heard some stuff. I think you might have a thing. Like, we should go and see a doctor, and they'll give you, like, some medicine, and now we're going to go. call's done. She's in the hospital. Good? What? So now my things are dirty. Well, I'm not saying that you're dirty or infection, but it was a potential mode of transmission. So it's as simple as that. How many of you guys touch the door handle to get in here? How many of you guys press the button on the elevator? Right? So mode of transmission from touching, right? You tell me service, and all of a sudden you're like, let me just think about that. Or sometimes you're like, oh man, this is really in there, right? We end up touching our mucous membranes, and now we have an opportunity for us to get in. So nose, no, eyes, those are the common ones that we're going to see. Those are mucous membranes that things are going to get in. So now we have all the steps. Is there a way that I can break the chain at this point? I'll give you a hint. Yes. How could we mitigate, stop, slow down, reduce the chances of getting sick at this point with influenza?
Oh, I was gonna say you could like wear gloves and stuff and masks to reduce contact so you don't have a higher chance of getting it.
Yep, so gloves, mask, eye protection to reduce the chances. Sanitize your equipment, yeah. Up-to-date vaccinations. Wash your hands, right? So we can do stuff. So people without annual influenza might have a higher risk of getting sick. Or, if you do get the influenza, if you do get your boosters, if you do get the flu shot, maybe you're not going to be as sick. You'll be sick, but not as sick. Alright, so when we think about the chain of infection or transmission, I want you to think about all those steps and pieces. And then how would it impact if we change it from influenza to something else? Because it's potentially going to change. So we are going to talk about how is disease spread, because not all of them are going to be contact and coughing and air passages. So there are a number of different ways where different diseases and bacteria and fungi can be spread from people. So it could be through the air, right? It could be saliva, so either from an animal or a person. Blood, other bodily fluids, skin or mucous membranes, so especially if the skin is broken or we have contact with mucous membranes. Urine, feces, soil, dirty, non-hygienic objects. So all of these things we're going to be in contact with as paramedics. You will see a lot of poo, you will see a lot of pee, you will see a lot of blood, you'll see a lot of vomit, you'll see a lot of different things. So we want to make sure that we're protected. You will need to have your immunizations up to date. You will have opportunities to wear your proper protective items, your proper PPE to mitigate these things, and you will have the opportunity to clean stuff to make sure it doesn't cause you harm. Gross. Right? Or look at those chunks. That's a sneeze. Look at this one. Ew. It's gross. Look how far that's going. Think about. I like how you're talking about. I wish you were like 2 rows up. So imagine like you guys coughing. Look at that. All of you guys, you're gonna have the sneezes and the boogers and the nastiness all over you. Look at that! What? Disgusting. Cool mustache, but disgusting, right? So we want to be aware of how things are going to get transmitted and what we can do about it. So when we think about airborne, like we just saw, it's going to be coming through the air. So people sneeze, cough, those pieces, right? So things will be flying through the air. This is where we might inhale them, right? So you're about to take a deep breath and I cough in your face. Ew, right? Or as we are normally talking, someone's coughing. Like how many times are you like talking to your friend and they're like, or they sneeze and you're like pretty close. Now you just come closer, right? So it's gross, it can happen. But the same thing will happen when we are taking care of patients. So when we are actually performing assessments on people, you're gonna be really close to them. So they're coughing, sneezing, those kind of things, it's gonna happen. So we wanna be aware about that stuff. So some things that can be passed through from airborne are things like chickenpox. The common cold kind of makes sense, right? Flu, sure. Meningitis, measles, mumps, rubella. Now some of these things are a little bit harder to catch and you have to have much more closer contact for a longer period of time, or your susceptibility has to be quite high. Some of these things you guys are already been given immunizations to reduce the likelihood of you getting it, or for your reaction to be a little bit less. All this stuff is going to be in your notes, so if you don't write them all down, it's okay. Remember, this is going to be a study tool for you later. So don't fret, don't be upset, don't be frustrated that you didn't catch them all. Oh, that was not what I wanted. The dramatic thing was supposed to like it go away. Don't be fretting, upset that all these things went away. Go back and look it up as you're doing your readings. Highlight them in your books. Make the notes. These are your study tools. I'm trying to help you with studying. Okay? The question I was going to ask that I forgot about is how far do you think like a sneeze and cough go?
6 meters.
Yeah, I kind of already gave it to you. So 3 to 6 feet. That means that like, if we think about people sitting in the back and the fact that this is coming down, you guys can sneeze up there and it'll travel. If there's a slight breeze, it'll go even further. All of a sudden next week, everyone's going to be sitting in the back. No one's going to be in the front.
Is that why it's like, tradition to sneeze into your arm?
Yeah, so you're trying to actually mitigate it from going everywhere, it's to sneeze into your arm. Yeah, absolutely. But this means that when we show up at someone's house and we're trying to take care of them, if we're going to be close to them, you know, I'm wearing a mask and some goggles. Because I don't want, like, you're all cute and stuff, but you're buying your lunch, so we're not exchanging any of this stuff, right? So I'm going to wear a mask and goggles to protect myself. We're going to move on to urine and feces, everyone's favorite topic, right? It's shitty, but we do need to talk about it.
Heyo.
Bad jokes, a lot. Get used to them, right? Days are interesting. Hopefully mine are better. So urine and feces, there's a number of microorganisms that live in it that we can catch. So this usually comes from soil, hands, objects, surfaces, those kind of things. So people that may have gone to the bathroom but not washed their hands or not washed their hands properly, and then they touch the door, and then even though you washed your hands, you touch the door, and we may not be able to see it, but it's there. So we got to be cognizant. We will show up at people's homes, and there'll be feces and urine. You might be wearing diapers, adults, children, special needs, everybody. Or they just had explosive diarrhea, they're going to be really sick. So on our sheets, remember my stethoscope, we're putting people onto a stretcher. We need to clean the stretcher. All the different things we touch, we need to clean up. So it can be passed through a lot of different pieces. So things that we're worried about with feces and urine, hepatitis. So meningitis, salmonella, gastritis, most of you have had that. Tapeworms can happen, but it's not as likely. And thrush, same thing. We might see people with these things. We just want to make sure that we take care of ourselves. Another one for skin and mucous membranes. So getting into our bodies, it's usually this route that it's going to get into our, or can get into our bodies. So what are some of your mucous membranes? Anyone? Nose? Sorry? Eyes? Ears? Not so much. Eyes, nose? Mouth? For reals? Yeah! You have the JJ, your PP, your anus, right? All of those things. You guys are in healthcare, right? We gotta talk about these things, right? So, yeah, all those things give an opportunity for us to have things spread through mucous membranes. Or, when I say us, I mean like anybody. So, hopefully you keep your pants on while you're working and you don't have to worry about those. You just worry about your eyes, nose, and mouth. Please keep your pants on when you're working. then we're okay. So if there's a cut or scrape, then we open up your opportunity for it to get in, the germs to get in. So we wanna make sure that we cover ourselves with a Band-Aid, wear gloves as possible. One thing that ends up happening with washing our hands a lot is dry skin, and then we can end up having cracks on our fingers and hands. You may have experienced this through more COVID times where we're washing and using the hand rubs. So moisturizing will definitely help to keep your hands supple. That'll be really nice, right? So soft hands, take care of them so you don't have opportunities for things to get in. And if you do have a cut, put a Band-Aid on it, try to mitigate it. If it's on your hand, put a Band-Aid, and you have gloves. Okay? We're just trying to protect ourselves. So, again, these things that can impact us through membranes, but there's also things that can latch onto our skin and hair. So stuff like conjunctivitis, so this nasty eyeball, that's gross. You don't want that. So don't like rub eyeballs of people. It's kind of gross. Things like lice or bed bugs. You'll be going into homes where this is a thing, and you gotta be really, really careful. Mumps, chickenpox, all kinds of stuff. So we will be dealing with people that have these things, and we will have to service them. We will have to take care of them. Would you want to go in there with no gloves on? Someone say no? Thank you. Right, so we want to be able to take care of ourselves. There are going to be things that are contagious. Blood and body fluids. So the most common are going to be like hepatitis B and C. Then obviously stuff like HIV. We still want to be aware and concerned about that. One of the ways that it actually impacts healthcare workers the most is going to be through a needle stick injury. So a used needle post. And this is something that you're going to learn to give medications with a needle, and then you got to get rid of that sharp needle and put it away. But there's a potential where you might poke yourself after. Or the individual, maybe they're using needles and you don't know, and there's one beside them on them, and you touch them and it pokes you. So there could be needles in and around, so someone may have used recreational drugs, shot up the needle, and someone called 911 because they look like they are dead or stopped breathing. The needle still may be in the arm, it might be on the floor. You don't want to just leave it there, you want to remove it and put it in a sharps container. If it's on the floor, you need to be aware of that situation, make it safe, remove that needle. You don't want to poke yourself. Right? So you want to be careful. The number one cause of catching stuff for paramedics or healthcare workers is a needle stick injury.
So if we're lifting and moving a patient, should we like check your pockets, make sure there's no needle there, or how does that work?
Nope, I'm going to teach you next week, the week after, the week after, the week after.
If we're like working with the police and they're trying to investigate, do we still move the needles? Do we try and leave them where they are?
Safety first. So safety first. So we move the needles out of the way. We'll talk later in the semester about bullets, casings, knives, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you got to make yourself safe first. So you want to move things out of the way, right? Fuck the police. They can figure out their investigations after. But you may want to make note that those things were there. But yeah, you have to take care of yourself. Safety first. I guess I'll want to talk about that. Breaking the chain. So what are some routine practices that we can do that will break the chain? Washing our hands. Yeah. Anything else? Sanitizing equipment.
Just like allocating pieces of clothes. So like if you go in with a uniform, you're not gonna take that home. Like then you're gonna like switch to your outside clothes or whatever.
Yeah. So when we're thinking about like working, there's a lot of medics that will show up in their civilian clothes and then change at work. And when they go home, they leave their uniform at work and change back into civilian clothes. Or they'll show up in their uniform from home because they're clean, but they'll change out of their clothes. And if most times it's like in pajamas because they're like going home to bed. And so you see everyone, they'll take a shower at work and they'll have their PJs or right? And you have them changing so we don't have our clothes. Or on certain calls, we'll actually go back and remove our clothes and get them laundered, which means we have to have a secondary line of clothing. You don't have to worry about that yet.
Wearing proper PPE.
Wearing proper PPE, right? PPE that's appropriate for the situation or the environment, right?
Yeah, for the laundry, you can't take your work clothes home. What if they're contaminated by blood or?
Yeah, you can take them home. So just put them in a bag and then throw them in the laundry, and that's all you need. Stuff like bed bugs and lice, you just need to have really hot water. Most services will actually help facilitate you guys cleaning it. So either on site or to a laundromat. But yeah, blood on clothes. If I punched you in the face, you had a bloody nose and it spilled on your shirt, you just throw it in the laundry. So now if it's my blood on your shirt, it's gross, but same thing. But we're gonna try to mitigate it. So instead of having blood go on my clothes, what could I do to stop that? Wear a gown, right? So immunizations are gonna be one of those factors, right? This is one of the ways that we can mitigate and or break that chain of infection. So if we have immunizations up to date, that's gonna help. The other one is hand hygiene care, so washing our hands, sanitizing, those things. Disinfecting our equipment. So as you move forward, you're gonna start realizing all the different things that we touch. So we had our stethoscope that actually touched the person. Where did I put it? Put it on my neck. Oh, I'm gonna check the pupils. I'm gonna look. Cool. And then I'm gonna do a blood pressure. Cool. Now my pen, my blood pressure cuff, my stethoscope. I'm wearing gloves. My hands are clean, but I'm touching all those things. Now I'm gonna pick you up and put you on my stretcher. Now I'm gonna push the stretcher. I'm gonna open the door to the ambulance. I'm gonna shove you in. I'm gonna close the ambulance. Inside the ambulance, I might need to reach for something inside a cupboard. I still have my gloves on. But it's all those touch points. So when it's time to clean up, after I get rid of the patient, I gotta take off my gloves. I gotta clean my stethoscope, my pen light, the stretcher, the door handle, the cupboard, all the things that we touch. Yeah. So we have to clean all those things. Right? So immunizations, we want to keep them up to date. There's statutes that we need to follow in regards to immunizations. You guys will be talking more about this in my legal with dates. But we need to be able to have these and keep them up to date. Washing our hands, 15, 20 seconds, all it takes, right? So have you guys heard of strategies on how to know that you wash your hands long enough? What? Yeah, singing, right? So alphabet, happy birthday, right? Like sing yourself, happy birthday to me. Someone's birthday today. Happy birthday to me, right? Sing, but it's not just like, I have a daughter, and I'm like, go wash your hands, really cool. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, wash your hands. And she's just like you need to rub them. So we need to, I have gloves on, but we still need to rub our hands. Friction. You don't need to use hot water, it doesn't make everything hot. It just burns your hands and it hurts. If you're into that, cool. But warm water is all you need. Rub, get in the fingers, right? Rinse it off. But then don't touch the caps. Dry hands, use a paper towel, hit, whatever. Things like watches and jewelry, they get in the way. They attract stuff. You all have some fancy nails, turn them down. You're gonna poke right through the glove. You're gonna be like Wolverine. Right? Doesn't help. And it gets underneath. Shit gets underneath there. Right? Yeah. And then you're like, right? So wash your hands. So we talked about kind of washing your hands. Ideally, that's your best route. So if you can use soap and water, way better. But if you don't have that option, alcohol-based sanitizers are fine. But if you do that a few times, you start building up like this like weird filmy thing, your hands start to get dry. No one wants some dry hands. So make sure when you can, you wash your hands with soap and water. But if you don't have it handy, alcohol-based is fine too. So hand hygiene is really important. Remember that we need to disinfect and clean our stuff, so we will have wipes to do that stuff. And we have them in our labs, so we can actually break down our equipment, our stuff, your stuff, everybody's stuff. So So remember, we want to sterilize all things, clean all things. And if you're like, did I touch this chair? I don't know. Clean the chair. You're not sure? You do it. Right? Sterilize all the things. So what is PPE? Well, PPE stands for our protective equipment. So it could be anything that we're going to use to kind of create a barrier between us and whatever is happening. So what are some examples of PPE that you guys know? Gloves, gowns, masks, face shields. Awesome. So we have a couple different things. So levels of protection that we are concerned about is stuff like contact, droplet, and airborne.
Just a question. You know how kids get fitted for a mask? When do we bring that card in?
You don't need to bring that card in to me at all. That card, you need to be able to provide it when you're doing your placement stuff.
Oh.
So you need to get it done now so you know what to do. So there's different levels. So if someone is, I don't know, they cut their finger and they're bleeding, do I need to be worried about airborne? No, they're just bleeding, so I just need to worry about contact, right? So we want to think about what are we going to use. So we have stuff like gloves, gowns, clothing. So stuff like aprons, head covers, shoe covers, boot covers, those kind of things can help mitigate that stuff depending on the level of care that you need or the situation that's presented. Masks, there's a couple different layers that you can do. So at the very minimum, we'll wear a surgical mask. Then you can move up into an N95. Then there's people that have weird faces and the mask doesn't fit properly, where they may have to go into a powered air purifying respirator or PAPR. This is what a PAPR looks like. This is at the heyday of at the beginning of COVID, and we didn't know what was happening. So you can see PAPRs. These have a filter and a little fan that pulls air from the outside into the helmet and blows air on the face. It creates a very good seal and positive air through filter. You can also see here that there's a blue gown, and that is on top of a full body suit. So that full body suit also has a little hoodie. So when we were wearing these, it was like literally our forehead under our chin. It was that white suit. It had booties, and if we tore the booties, we had to wear these slip-ons that came up to your knee that we ducted. So we had 2 sets of gloves, the white outfit with the blue covers, the blue apron, and the PAPR in the summer doing CPR. It sucks, but we didn't want to get sick. So there's different layers. For those of you that do have trouble with masks, that might be an option. For those of you that choose not to shave, that might be an option. We at the college will not be able to provide you one, but we can direct you as to where you may be able to buy one. So if you think you look good with a beard, maybe shave it, because it's a lot of money for one of those things, and it sucks to have to wear. If you absolutely want to have a facial hair, cool. I can direct you to that. But shave your face, make it work. When you start working, they will do a fit test on you, a mask fit test. If you fail, then the service will provide you that. But at the college level, we will not provide you. But we can direct you to it. But I will tell you from personal experience, those things suck. I have a weird face. That's the part where you guys are supposed to be like,
No, you don't.
I have a weird face.
No, you don't.
Only one, great, thanks. And I have to wear that, and it really, really sucks. I would rather not wear it, but that's an option. So we have different levels of protection that we can wear based on the situation that we're encountering. So when we're putting on our PPE, there's something that's called donning. So putting it on, donning it, there is an order. So I've posted images on those steps, and that's what we're going to practice in the lab this week. During patient care, if things get torn, like if your glove gets torn, you need to change it because you have to protect yourself. So you need to be able to change it and get another set of gloves. People with long hair, you want to have it tied up and out of the way. You don't need hair falling on top of someone's face, but also you don't want to have to like move your hair out of the way, right? And then you have nastiness, pee, poo, blood, guts, brains, like snot. You don't want any of that stuff. So you want to have it tied up out of the way. If you're putting on all that PPE, you can have someone double check to make sure that it's on properly and that you haven't missed any spots. And then taking it off is doffing it off. So taking it off, there's also an order and a process. So again, I've provided you 2 files, 2 images. One is for donning, one is for doffing, one is green, one is blue. If you're colorblind, it says donning, it says doffing. And it has steps. There's an order to those steps, and we're going to talk more about that in lab this week. So when we're thinking about stuff like contact infections for blood, usually transmitted through cuts, mucous membranes, things like that. So we want to be able to protect our skin. The number one thing is going to be gloves. If we have a cut, like I talked about, throw a bandage over it, throw on your gloves. And then any other mucous membranes that we're worried about, we're going to cover it up. So mucous membranes like your nose, mouth, wear a mask. Eyes for your mucous membranes, wear goggles. Some important considerations: changing gloves, removing gloves, and damaged gloves. When you're changing them out, if they're damaged, swap them out. We only use 1 set of gloves per patient. We do take turns driving the wee-woo. So when I'm not a paramedic and I'm an ambulance driver, I may help, well, not may, I will help load the patient. I'm taking off my gloves. Then I'm going to wash my hands with alcohol, and I'm going to jump into the driver's seat and wee-woo all the way to the hospital. Don't keep your gloves on, because that's fucking gross. Right? Don't drive with your gloves on. Then when we get to the hospital, fresh gloves, put them on. So if you're damaged gloves, swap them out. Every patient gets another pair of gloves. And then removing them, I'm going to show you a way to mitigate so you lower the risk of cross-contamination.
Every glove swap, do you want to like wash your hands with the alcohol?
Ideally, if you can.
Okay.
Yeah. What else? So droplet, what do you guys think the mode of transmission is for droplet? Say it loud. What?
Sneezing.
Sneezing. Coughing. So droplets, right, flying through the air from the respiratory tract, mucous membranes. How's it going to get into our body? Inhale, so we think about mouth, nose, eyes. What are we going to use to protect those? Mask, bottles. This is a way better class for you guys to interact. So we may need to be also covering up our clothes if it's going to be droplet, right? Remember those sneezing pictures that I showed and those things flying at you? Imagine a cough where it's building up in the lungs, through the trachea. Do you think it might go over your body? So then you wear a gown, and you can take it off to protect your clothes. So things like a surgical mask or something a little bit higher, like an N95 respirator, we can wear a gown, a mask. The N95 respirator is actually designed to mitigate a lot of stuff. So what is the N95? So when we think about particles that are flying through the air, it's going to actually filter through. A surgical mask is not going to filter as much. The seal is not as good. So the N stands for non-oil. So it's not an oil-based product. N95 masks mean that they up to 95% effective in a specific microorganism. So 0.3 millimicrons of the mask. And the material helps to filter that through. So not every mask is going to be capable of filtering out all that stuff. So when we really need something that's going to filter things out, we want to wear the N95s. When you start working, your service may tell you you need to wear a surgical mask on all calls. However, if the call you discover it is a certain issue, we will switch over to an N95. But I want you to be aware that there's different levels, N95 and lower. Not everyone needs an N95. If I was bleeding, do I need an N95 mask for you to be worn? No. You can just wear a surgical mask if you're worried about it. Okay, so depending on the situation. So how much protection is needed? How do you decide? Depends on the call, yeah. So what information will help you decide what you're going to wear? So dispatch is going to tell you where you're going. So you're going for a person with explosive diarrhea. You're going to a person that is coughing. short of breath, flu-like symptoms. So they're going to start giving you clues. Someone's been stabbed, right? So you can start to anticipate what might be an issue and what you want to wear. You show up and you start talking to the patient. They're like, yeah, I cut my hand because I was making a bagel, but I had a coughing fit and I almost fainted because I've been sick for the last week. Coughing a lot. You're like, oh, I thought it was just blood. Now I got to change my PPE or adjust it. So patient complaint, patient presentation, how they present. Yep. Oh, just putting it here. So when in doubt, wear more PPE. What do you guys think? Sure. To a limit. Like, you're not going to go to every call dressed like that, right? That's ridiculous. So if you're not sure, you're going to figure it out. So putting on the gloves, there's steps. I provided you that in the week 1 course shell. We're going to cover this in lab. You will need to know the order and the steps on how to do this moving forward.
Do you ever get calls and like, as you start finding out more information, you're like, okay, pause and then like get the appropriate PPE?
Yep, so the question was, do you ever get a situation where as you're doing the call, you discover that there's other layers that are popping up and you're like, oh, I need more PPE? Absolutely, all the time. And so we have to stop and readjust, and we'll tell people, I'll be right back. Or you need more equipment, I'll be right back. And yeah, you gotta protect yourself first. So this is the image that you guys will have on how to put on PPE. What is it called? Putting on PPE? Donning, good. And then the other one, taking it off, is called? And that's the other one that you'll have. So you'll have these in your semester or week 1 file. You need to know these steps. Hint, hint, you'll need to know these steps, especially for week 5. All right, so for our lab, we're going to be in lab either Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, or Friday morning or Friday afternoon. You will only have one of those. We may have to adjust the lab groups to even them out. I don't know why, but every year there's one side that's way heavier than the other. We'll deal with that next week. For this week, you will show up for your time. Whatever your time is, that's your time for the whole semester. If you cannot come on that day, you cannot go to another day. You cannot swab, you cannot phone a friend, you cannot do any of those things. You need to attend your labs. The reason that you cannot swap is because there may be days where you're set up for scenario, or it starts to put too many people into a lab, which takes away the opportunity for that group to have the same equal amount of time with the instructor or the skill. My goal is to give you guys each the equal amount of time with instructors and tools. This week, you do not need to bring anything to the lab. You can come dressed as you are, you can come in full uniform, doesn't matter. Next week, you have to have boots. Next Wednesday, you have to have boots. They have to be the safety boots. Next week, you need them because we will be lifting. You don't have safety boots, you're not allowed in the lab, you're not allowed to lift, you're not allowed to touch, see, or get feedback. That's going to suck for you. So please, you have 7 days to get boots. If you get boots and you're not sure they're the right ones, take a picture, email it to me, and I'll respond back. You should be thinking about getting your uniforms, so make sure you swap down in your pants, and then start looking at stethoscopes, plus attendance.